seeking the palace and its guardsmen. And then, with my willpower to resist weakened, I would brace myself to watch the operation of that very big jaw, rather in the way one might stop to gawk at a crane on a building site.
Okay, Nerd Squad, no delay. It is Monday, February 17th, 2025, 4:44 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The federal felons upstairs appear to have in some way affected the visibility of these live streams, concurrent with all of their other crimes and active attempts repeatedly over 100 times since the 11th to obstruct, tamper, intimidate, retaliate, and perpetrate acts of domestic terrorism, which apply to each and every count of this live stream being affected as far as visibility goes, as far as their erasure of footage, as far as their attempts to actively disable every camera and recording device in my home, concurrent with that, even for offline recordings for their domestic terrorist organization, and their willingness to follow unlawful directives from the very people who they've been listening to, which is why some of them are going to prison for the rest of their lives. So it is Monday. It is 4:45 a.m. It's February 17th, and it is very likely no one is actually going to be able to watch this video or any of the preceding ones other than the very individuals going to prison. And then, of course, those that are going to be handcuffing you to bring you to that federal penitentiary after your sentencing, after you've been given your indictment at your arraignment, and after you've been arrested, which unfortunately you already know won't be until next month. Now, that being said, if this live stream ends for any reason without me orally telling you the end time, I didn't end it. The domestic terrorist upstairs did, but more likely than not, they'll corrupt this file. They've probably likely stopped making it available for viewing in any way, shape, or form. You get an email from YouTube every time your live stream begins. That hasn't happened except for a very small handful of the videos they actively and criminally terminated over and over and over again. And then hours and days later, getting retroactive emails from Google, which are clearly fraudulent, something that the North Everett precinct telling everybody they're part of an operation which has never, not in 2 years, been a legitimate operation, and has instead been entirely an aggravated criminal conspiracy, and then later a domestic terrorist organization. Now, their crime spree and their desperation hinge primarily on the next week or so. Well, the next weeks as far as they're concerned. And the emails that I'm getting are emails telling me that 3 days ago, a live stream went up. It was now live. These are things that doesn't occur except for when this domestic terrorist organization is perpetrating acts of domestic terrorism. That's the only time these things occur, which is all you've been doing, especially the dirty cunt upstairs that's been doing it since March 2023. Oh, yes, and abusing my sons and kidnapping and everything else you've done. These people owe me billions of dollars at this point. They're going to prison. They have no job. Since August, they've been committing criminal acts that have all constituted as acts of domestic terrorism as recently as this very live stream. These are not officers. These were never officers. So I'll play a bit of a previous recording, which would be important if anybody could watch it that wasn't going to prison. But since you're all going to prison for the rest of your lives and perpetrating domestic terrorism right now at 4:48 a.m. in the morning this Monday, February 17th, like the FBI has consistently said, you're actually all just requesting to go to prison. And unfortunately, I gave the FBI consent to allow you guys to be as awful as you wanted to be until like February 23rd. And then I inadvertently gave them consent earlier this month so that they now have until April. That hasn't negated the fact they plan on putting all of your asses in jail next month or substantially sooner. Now, if it's next month, it'll be after the 10th. Or again, based on your criminal conduct within your domestic terrorism organization, substantially sooner.
All right, good morning. Yesterday, one of thousands.
I'm playing a preceding live stream, which you probably can't view because of the domestic terrorist organization upstairs.
Relationship with who I was friends with before he was ever my lawyer, and
it'll go over all the things you need to know before you're all arraigned, indicted, and put in prison, which is where you absolutely deserve
in an attempt to create that non-existent federal defense, you know, the one that was reported about in the August 14th court plan, where all the remaining felonies that they were helping to perpetrate were also recorded.
What's this mystery?
You think the haggard woman you've been listening to
one of those named individuals
is going to save your asses and that you need to appease her, and you're so wrong.
8 years ago,
each and every one of you following her instructions and affecting the visibility of this recording and all of the activities since the 11th.
All of them except for one individual.
All you've been doing is perpetrating domestic
terrorism. They're all part of it. Part of the reason why the FBI has full jurisdictional authority.
So that she can point the finger at you guys and say you did it, not her.
We're going to go over that
for the non-existent operation.
First. And
some of you are going to be convicted for getting paychecks for 2 years to be enemies of the state, the city, the county, the United States of America.
On the 13th. This is from the live stream on my channel that is titled 2-13 4 something a.m. in the morning. I'm going to the YouTube channel right now. I'm still recording offline on the laptop where they didn't disengage and disable the camera. Indigo's laptop. Remember, they also broke Garrett's brand new laptop yesterday.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that right now. But if you missed it, they criminally and illegally terminated this laptop's ability to have any recordings saved yesterday after a 20-hour recording.
Never part of any sort of legitimate operation.
Concurrent with them attempting to prevent anybody from seeing these live streams
criminal conspiracy
for their domestic terrorist organization.
It's never been a legit operation.
And then telling people it's an operation when it's a domestic terrorist organization. And that's all it's been since August. And it's been an aggravated criminal conspiracy since March of 2023. And each and every one of you is going to prison for the rest of your lives, except for the independent whistleblowers that aren't participating in this.
And then I've got to fast forward about 2 hours in, and you will hear this is the addendum from February 13th.
Oh, she had big crimes planned for this week and next week and the week after that. I already know. The FBI already knows too.
An hour and 57 minutes into that.
Remember, you haven't been arrested because the FBI is making a final list of who wants to go to prison. So far. Since the 11th, it appears you all do, right? A couple are no-goes.
Subject supplemental information regarding further criminal activities, escalation of threats, evidence tampering, continued child abuse, and incurred penalties February 10th to February 13th, 2025. Immediate action required. Criminal enterprise in domestic terrorist organization. No immunity for unlawful directives. This document serves as the fourth addendum to the formal judicial notice filed on February 4th, 2025 at 10:08 a.m. PST and previously supplemented. It provides further critical updates regarding the relentless and escalating criminal conspiracy orchestrated by individuals associated with the North Everett Precinct, Unit 207 at 2120 Highland Ave, Everett, Washington, and their expanding network of co-conspirators. This addendum also functions as a formal police report detailing new criminal acts perpetrated between February 10th and February 13th, 2025. 1. Incorporation of prior filings by reference. All
Federal
facts,
felons
invoices,
upstairs were trying to
statements,
actively
and
hack this
incorporated
laptop
documents
while I am
referenced in
on
the
it
original
at
formal judicial
4:54
notice
a.m.
of
Nerd
February
Squad.
4th, 2025.
Trying to
and all
navigate the
subsequent
YouTube
addendums,
studio
February 6th,
channel to
February
some
7th, and
page for the
February
guy
8th,
upstairs to do
2025,
something else to
and all
guarantee he's in
police
prison
reports
getting
filed
butt
by
fucked this
Lynette
time
Renee
next year.
Hansen from June 2024 to the present date, and any future date are hereby incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein. This explicitly includes, but is not limited to, declaration of Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, dated December 14, 2024, revised 8:07 p.m. PST due to unlawful tampering. Addendum to declaration dated December 19th, 2024. Addendum in amendment to declaration dated December 29th, 2024. Tort claim filed August 14th, 2024, case number 10-500-5934, served upon the North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County Prosecutors et al. All police reports filed since June 2024 by me, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. 2. Supplemental information, criminal acts from February.
Should have received
10th
an
to
email
February
11 minutes and
13th,
29 seconds ago
2025.
saying that this recording was
The following
visible and
criminal
live.
acts have been perpetrated by
I don't
Unit
have
207
it because
and
the
their
domestic terrorists
co-conspirators, further
upstairs
demonstrating the ongoing and escalating
are
nature of
choosing
this
to
criminal
join
enterprise.
the worst of the worst in
February 10th,
prison.
2025, just before noon, a male individual from Unit 207 briefly appeared to
Like they've
deliver
been
written
doing
materials.
nonstop
The
since
content and
February
purpose of these
11th.
materials are currently unknown, but are
And
considered
like they've
suspect
been
in the
doing in some
context of ongoing
instances for
harassment and
years
conspiracy.
and in
February
others
10th, 2025, 2 p.m.
for
PST.
under
The North
2
Everett
years, but
Precinct
over a
predictably
year. And in
unlawfully
others,
rejected the
there's
police
new
report
blood upstairs who I don't know. I guess you're just now a domestic terrorist because fortunately you got sent up there after, and now you're surrounded by the very people you would love to put in prison.
Unit 207 were overheard discussing their intent to feign cessation of stalking while continuing these criminal activities. They also discussed plans to dispatch multiple individuals to my residence before February 23rd under the false pretense that my participation is required for some unspecified purpose. February 10th, 2025, 12 a.m. and 8:37 a.m. PST. YouTube Livestreams initiated by me were criminally and illegally terminated. These actions are consistent with evidence tampering, witness intimidation, and obstruction of justice. February 11th, 2025, 8 a.m. to 5:16 p.m. PST. Unit 207 engaged in a cybercrime spree, illegally shutting off an astounding 23 live streams. February 11th, 2025, 5:20 p.m. PST. A male individual from the upstairs unit known to be actively stalking me with neighbors Andy and Kelly, the DCYF employee and brother of an EPD officer who left harassing notes in the summer of 2023, entered the balcony door of Unit 207. This further illustrates the coordinated stalking and harassment efforts involving multiple individuals and potentially implicating members of law enforcement and DCYF. That shouldn't say potentially. That should say implicates. Everything that is written here, there is evidence of beyond a reasonable doubt, and the FBI has confirmed that damn near every day that I've been illegally detained. Moving on. February 13th, 2025, 1:55 a.m. PST. During a live stream, Unit 207 illegally terminated the broadcast and in a significant escalation of evidence tampering, erased a 20-plus hour recording stored offline. This act was concurrent with the criminal and illegal erasure of over 4 hours of the YouTube live stream from the previous night. Prior to the termination, I had explicitly noted in the live stream description a threat from the female occupant upstairs to terminate the broadcast while I slept, which she subsequently carried out. This erasure is believed to be for the same reason speculated in the February 8th addendum: obstruction of justice, intimidation of a federal witness, and tampering with evidence of their ongoing criminal conspiracy. Ongoing cybercrimes and live stream interference, February 12th to the 13th. February 13th, 1:55 a.m. PST, live termination, as noted above. February 12th, 9:11 p.m. PST, female felons in upstairs unit explicitly planned to terminate the live stream while I slept. This threat was typed into the live stream description in an attempt to preemptively deter their criminal actions and document their intent. February 12th, 8:57 p.m. PST, female felons engaged in further cyber tampering, illegally cutting and tampering with the live stream. February 12th, 8:02 p.m., live stream terminated from 7:56 p.m. to 8:02 p.m. February 12th, 7:51 p.m. update, Unit 207, activities since noon indicates female felons are anticipating imprisonment but express high expectation for next week and further crimes. Believing, quote, court, quote, will favor them. They also suggest co-conspirators are, quote, even more excited for next week. February 12th, 9:02 a.m. PST, Unit 207 terminated a prior live stream. February 12th, 6:43 a.m. to 7:43 a.m. PST, Unit 207 engaged in extensive planning out and conspiratorial. There we go. Unit 207 engaged in extensive planning and conspiratorial discussions involving both male and female occupants, continuing as of 7:44 a.m. PST. February 12th to February 13th at 3 a.m. Unit 207 has criminally and illegally tampered with, obstructed, and committed cyber crimes against at least 9 live streams. 3. This is not an operation. This is a criminal enterprise and domestic terrorist organization. It is important to state unequivocally that the actions documented herein and in all prior filings are not part of any legitimate law enforcement operation, nor are they justifiable under any
legal pretext. Hey, and keep in mind, that is why the sheriffs, just like me, have been excited to haul your asses to jail for months.
And constitutes the actions of a domestic terrorist organization.
Some of you may have noticed some of your friends from other police departments are acting weird.
Unit 207 and their co-conspirators are engaged
probably because they know you are indeed a domestic terrorist, a child abuser, a stalker, a kidnapper, a thief,
surveillance, intimidation tactics,
a fraudster,
disruption of my peace,
unworthy of a badge, the complete opposite of being worthy of a badge.
Termination of live streams, erasure of recordings, and hacking attempts to obstruct justice and conceal their criminal activities.
Complete opposite.
Obstruction of justice, rejection of legitimate police reports, fraudulent court maneuvers, and concerted efforts to impede any
and to the whistleblowers, you know I'm not talking to you.
Child abuse and exploitation, the continued and deliberate exploitation of my disabled sons to perpetrate felonies and further this criminal conspiracy, illegal detainment and kidnapping, ongoing illegal detainment within my own home.
Over half a year, you've been holding me hostage down here, and for over 2 months, you've been attempting to starve me and my cat. And you were committing crimes against me nonstop since March 23 or September 23. You've been stalking me every day. You literally abused my kids directly and with your co-conspirators for 13 months. You deserve to have shit smeared all over your face and your open mouth.
Let it be explicit.
To have your children kidnapped from you. To be thrown in prison.
Immunity for these criminal acts.
And even more than that.
Every individual involved, regardless of their position or perceived authority,
you deserve to watch your children be abused for 13 months by people with badges.
The willingness to obstruct justice, tamper with evidence,
telling people they're part of an
intimidate
operation
a
that's
federal
never
witness
been an
only deepens
operation.
their culpability.
It's been an aggravated
And it
criminal
shuts the
conspiracy, and it became a
maximum
domestic
penalties
terrorist
under
organization
the law.
at 11:55 p.m. on August 6th.
2024 pattern of criminality.
And every act of
It
obstruction,
is critical
and every
to
act
note
of
that this pattern
tampering,
of
and
criminal
every
behavior
act of
is not new.
kidnapping, and every act
January
of child
2024,
abuse, and
Unit
every
207
act of
Unit
theft,
207,
and
including
every
six
act of
male
harassment,
students
and
detained
every
at
civil
detained
rights
on August
violation,
6,
and every
2024,
ADA
were
violation,
actively
and every
engaged in
stalking incident,
indoctrinating
all of
and
that
exploiting disabled
carries with it
minors.
domestic
Directing by
terrorism
multiple
charges
times convicted
since
stalker and
August
abuser
6th.
to indoctrinate our
There will be an
disabled sons
exodus at the
based
North
on their
Everett precinct.
disabilities and to plan their kidnapping until August 17, 2024. Destruction of personal property, deliberately destroying my brand new laptops in January 2024. Theft, stealing money from each and every delivery I received for all of my deliveries from September 2023 to August 2024. These actions, like the ongoing crimes, were never part of any legitimate.
Never.
legal
There wasn't a
operation.
day of a legitimate
They are
operation.
and
There was a
always
day
have been
when one lady upstairs that's going to
components
prison
of
for the
a
rest of her life thought that it was
premeditated
legitimate,
and aggravated
but it
criminal
never was.
conspiracy targeting me
And now
and
she's
my
one of the
children.
worst ones.
The abuse of disabled minors for 13 months, their exploitation to perpetrate felonies,
And that
kidnapping,
day was 2 years
ADA
ago,
violations,
next month.
stalking, harassment, and all other documented crimes are not and cannot be construed as any form of legitimate operation. They are the hallmarks of a criminal enterprise, operating with impunity and a complete disregard for the law. 6.
And then remember,
Financial
fools,
penalties updated.
the people facing
The following
federal
financial
disbarment,
penalties previously
who you
invoiced
keep
and
following the
contractually
instructions
agreed upon
of so
are
you can join them in
reiterated and
prison,
updated to reflect the additional criminal acts documented in
they
this
are
agenda.
so desperate,
100,000 per day for each day
so
of my
desperate
ongoing
for the
illegal
rest of this
detention,
month.
now totaling over 187 days.
But some of
10
you must
million
say
for
no
any
to them
attempted illegal entry
because
into
the
my
FBI is
residence.
confident you're going to
Increase to
have
25
10
million
days
fines
next month at the
equal
start
time.
of it
This penalty
to once
applies
again
to
pretend
breaking
you're
and
not
entering
going
on
to prison.
January 29th. 10 million for the use of my
Which means
son's
you won't be
illegal
breaking and
coercion
entering,
to commit
not
any
this month,
illegal
even though
acts,
that was the
including
plan.
January 29th breaking and entering.
Not again.
Doubling of all penalties if fraudulent
Maybe next
court
month,
orders
after
are
March
used
10th.
in conjunction with any illegal act. Quadrupling of these fees for any of the above criminal acts if they are perpetrated within 7 days of a rejected police report regarding said acts. 10 million for the rejection of legitimate police reports constituting obstruction of justice. This applies to all reports rejected to date, including the rejection of the February 8th report. 10 million for each instance of illegally terminating a YouTube live stream. This applies to all instances to date, including the numerous terminations between February 10th and February 13th. 10 million for each and every instance of stalking. 10 million for each and every instance of harassment. 10 million for each and every instance of ADA violations. 10 million for each and every instance of civil rights violations. Additional penalties incurred February 10th to February 13th, 2025. Obstruction of justice. Rejection of 2-8 report. 40 million quadruple penalty. Live stream terminations February 10th to the 13th. At least 30 terminations times 10 million equals 300 million.
Also,
Ongoing
keep in
stalking,
mind, I may have
harassment,
told
and
you what you
cybercrimes
deserve, but I
penalties
promise
continue
you,
to occur daily and
you're not
per
going to
incident.
experience what you've put me through.
The
You're
criminal
going to
actions
experience
documented
something
in
that
this
is
fourth addendum, alongside those
far
previously
more
reported and
long-term.
consistently rejected by the North Everett precinct, further and exponentially increase the financial liability of these conspirators. 7, conclusion. This fourth addendum provides further damning and irrefutable evidence that the North Everett precinct, Unit 207, and their co-conspirators are not engaged in any legitimate operation. but rather are actively perpetuating an aggravated criminal conspiracy, functioning as a criminal enterprise in a domestic terrorist organization. Their actions represent a grave threat to my safety.
Remember, everybody,
well-being of
the
my
bona fide
children,
FBI
and the
agent,
integrity of the justice system.
he hasn't even
The
flexed
FBI is
yet.
fully aware of these rapidly escalating
And those that are going to be
developments
abdicated
and
from
the
power,
egregious nature
they are
of these acts.
100% relying on their ability to get more of you to volunteer to go to prison
A demand for immediate
before March
and
14th.
decisive action to dismantle this criminal enterprise, protect myself and my children, and ensure that all individuals.
And when I say
involved
relying
are
on it, I
fully
mean so that they can say
accountable
you
under
did
the law.
it.
There is no immunity for these actions, and the perpetrators will be pursued to the fullest extent of the law. I declare in the penalty of perjury that all of the aforementioned is true and correct. Sincerely, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, date February 13th, 2025, time 3:49 a.m.
It's 5:09 a.m. and I still don't have an email that
Now,
this live stream began
I don't have
25
any
minutes
intention of ending
ago.
this live stream
I'm
anytime
refreshing
in
Gmail,
the immediate future.
but it should already be there. The only exception is when the domestic terrorists upstairs are perpetrating domestic terrorism.
You're listening still to that recording. Let me pause this.
That was told to me by the
That was
FBI,
the
guys.
February 13th report, which is far more important.
And there's a
than
lot of
the one
that.
Went out on
A lot
the
of that
14th. The one that went out on
in
the
my
14th
inbox.
became completely irrelevant because of Unit 207's ongoing criminal conduct since then. Now I'm going back to a video. that
Still not
has
there after the
remaining
refresh.
documents that the FBI would like to put an emphasis on for those of you that, again, are indeed going to prison. But hey, guys, the good news is it's February 16th. And if you didn't notice, in December and in the last 12 days, the FBI has had me submit legally binding paperwork informing you all that the plan is, and it can change subject with your domestic terrorist organization's criminal conduct. The plan is for you all to go to jail next month. And then I did you all a favor because I said it would be after the 10th. I mean, that's pretty nice of me to just let you know like that ahead of time, that at least for the first 10 days of March, as long as your domestic terrorist organization can control themselves, you won't be in jail yet. You won't have been arraigned yet. Now I am going back to the 2-8
Nerd Squad at
live
5:11
stream.
a.m. They absolutely are hacked into the
2-8,
YouTube channel.
5:20 p.m. Part 2 Mystic Gwen versus the North Everett
All
Precinct
signs
Forces.
previously told
I'm
to
going to
me
press
are
play
there,
here, and
including
this
the
you're gonna wanna
left-hand
listen to
side of
roughly
the screen
30 to
reflecting
45
as
minutes.
case partner
Also keep in
upstairs.
mind, it is 3:27 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If this live stream ends for any reason without me orally telling you the end time and explicitly stating a new live stream is initiating in 90 seconds or less, the domestic terrorist within Unit 207 and the revolving door of North Everett precinct officers that have come over to aid and abet their fellow domestic terrorists are 100% responsible. They're going to be charged for that. And I don't know that the live stream has ended and or they're preventing me from initiating another. But again, as of the preceding live stream, according to the FBI, it shouldn't be a problem going forward. It's not a problem the FBI is expecting will be persisting. The rampant criminality, again, from 211 to the live stream that preceded the live stream, which preceded this, did a lot evidentiary-wise for the FBI. So I'm going to press play. You're going to want to listen. These are the documents that were filed this month prior to that one you just heard from February 13th, which is an important one. But another one that's important is the February 4th judicial notice, which is what I'm going to begin with reading in this very live stream that I just clicked on. Again, this is 2/8/5:20 p.m. PT 22.
The North Everett precinct. Oh, now we have a bounce back.
I got to fast forward to the right spot.
that have
Here
been
we go.
made as a result of the North Everett precinct of fraudsters and stalkers.
Also,
and their litany of crimes
I
perpetrated.
am recording
250
offline again
plus
because if you missed it,
different crimes
Unit 207
over the last
attempted
couple
to
of years.
completely remove the camera off the device that's currently
Now that
running the
being
live
said,
stream. So that this device that I'm holding in my hand
There's
usually runs the
different
live
parts of
stream.
this.
And since they
Which
did that
was
to the
available as a
Lenovo ThinkPad,
podcast
now
on
this is
Spotify,
recording
Audible,
offline, and the
Radio.
Lenovo ThinkPad is recording the live stream. That's why you're looking
And
at my ceiling.
/Mystic Wind Pod. But the criminals of the North Everett precinct of fraudsters, who will soon be provided with their unsealed indictments and whatnot, have prevented that from being available for you all, except for via a YouTube video at present. So there is a YouTube video that has the same title as this one. It does not say part 1, and the title is complete. This one, it cuts out at the word extortionist and et al. It says ... So this is also doubling as a recording for the time period that it's running. I am going to now read you the updates since the preceding less than 2 hours long video titled Mystic Gwen versus the North Everett Precinct of Fraudsters, the Stalker, the Extortionist, et al. This is part 2. Again, no longer available on the podcast because of these criminal idiots. Okay, we are going to do a recording of the latest addendum / police report. I'm not recording this one on Twitter since we know that Unit 207. That is one of the recordings we're going over, but it's not the one that we're to start with. This is the one the FBI wants us to start with. Concurrent. And now I am going to the February 4th, 2025 judicial notice. I'm going to read it verbatim on Facebook, which does include a first paragraph that isn't any actual filing. Second police report of 2/25 at 10 a.m. Also served on federal felons via email and provided to law clerks of Seminole Superior Courthouse via email. ADA mandatory filing in any / all places with my legal names. Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Law clerks, urgent, please and thanks. ADA mandatory file in any / all cases with my legal names. Mystic Gwen, aka Lynette Renee Hansen. Subject: aggravated and ongoing criminal conspiracy.
And some of you may be wondering, why haven't you filed a police report yet? Look at all the crimes we proved against you since your last one on Friday. Oh, I'm going to. It has to be done today, in fact. According to the FBI, they want it done before 8 a.m. So stay tuned for that, babies. And remember, anyone not filing that is guilty of numerous crimes, including numerous acts and counts of domestic terrorism. Every live stream termination, domestic terrorism, obstruction, tampering, witness intimidation, no immunity. Those that you think are in authority are the ones that the FBI wanted to be the only ones they put in prison. But here, look at what you've done since the 11th.
And their co-conspirators. This report hereby incorporates by reference the following documents to detail the extensive history of this criminal conspiracy and provide irrefutable evidence of the crimes committed. Declaration of Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, dated December 14th, 2024, revised 8:07 p.m. PST, specifically noting the 8:07 p.m. revision due to prior documented unlawful tampering and alteration of the original document, further evidencing the pattern of evidence tampering and obstruction of justice. Addendum 2 Declaration, dated December 19th, 2024. Addendum End Amendment to Declaration, dated December 29th, 2024. Tort claim filed August 14th, 14th, 2024, in case number 10-500-5934, served upon the North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County prosecutors, et al., 9 days before the second actionable kidnapping of my sons and 3 days before the first such kidnapping. All police reports filed by Lynette Renee Hansen from August 14th, 2024 to the present date, including but not limited to reports regarding threats to break and enter my residence, acts of stalking and harassment, acts of
And in the event that the new blood is up there right now, the one that came after, you guys already became a domestic terrorist organization. Dude, I don't know much about you, but I can tell you, you are surrounded by the very people you personally would want to throw behind bars.
The premeditated acts to obstruct justice, such as the rejection of legitimate police reports, the exploitation and abuse of my disabled sons, including the use of my sons to perpetrate felony breaking and entering on January 29th, 2025. The specific incident on January 29th, 2025 involving the felony breaking and entering of my residence, facilitated by the use of my disabled sons, after 19 days of planning by individuals in Unit 207 and their co-conspirators. All other incidents documented on my YouTube live streams and other recordings. 2. Critical context and ongoing illegal detention. As of today's date, February 4th, 2020.
Unit 207 is actively attempting to find a way to terminate this live stream.
To stop trying to do that, because instead they're using a loophole to just obstruct it from being visible,
2025.
which counts as obstruction, tampering, intimidation, evidence tampering, and obstruction of justice to perpetrate domestic terrorism. Evidence tampering to perpetrate domestic terrorism against the United States. Remember, the federal marshals have already determined you're all a real threat to the judiciary, and they are the only ones, other than you guys, that want another break-in at my house.
Of legal basis. The North Everett Precinct, in conjunction with the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office and other co-conspirators, has engaged in a persistent and egregious pattern of obtaining.
And don't forget, guys, the FBI said since Valentine's Day, the NSA is on your asses. You know what that means? That means no wiretaps needed.
Criminal conspiracy.
Not for the NSA.
These orders are obtained through
That also means you could end up in Guantanamo with no trial.
Using real-time
For decades.
at 3:37
Also means that, doesn't it?
And all court
Yes, it
orders
does.
bearing my name, Lynette Renee Hansen, or Mystic Gwen, issued in 2024 or 2025 are deemed fraudulent and part of this criminal conspiracy. The possession, attempted enforcement, or any involvement in the acquisition of these orders implicates individuals in multiple felonies, including but not limited to conspiracy, fraud, obstruction of justice, and witness tampering. There are mandatory minimum sentences for anyone involved in these fraudulent orders. The ongoing attempts by these individuals to retroactively fabricate a legal basis for their criminal actions will fail. This is a desperate and transparent maneuver that will not shield them from liability. Their attempts to legitimize their actions through fraudulent means are an exercise in futility and further evidence of their guilt. 4. Financial penalties. As previously documented, the following financial penalties are in effect and will be rigorously enforced. $100,000 per day for each day of my ongoing illegal detention. $10 million for any attempted illegal entry into my residence, with an enhancement to $25 million if I am asleep at the time of the attempted entry. This penalty applies to the recent breaking and entering on January 29th, 2025. 10 million for the use of my sons to commit any illegal act on behalf of the conspirators. Doubling of all penalties if fraudulent court orders are used in conjunction with any illegal entry, attempted illegal detention, or any other criminal act against me. Quadrupling of these fees for any of the above criminal acts if they are perpetrated within 7 days of a rejected police report regarding said acts. 5, absolute lack of immunity. Let it be known throughout the North Everett precinct.
Let it be known.
County Prosecutor's Office.
Miss 80 plus years is upstairs at 3:39 a.m. That's a weird thing.
It's 5:24 a.m. She's not there yet, but Mini Me is.
Richard
Tom Dooley.
Garcia, and Anne Marie Bauer. There is no immunity. Nor will there ever be for any of the criminal acts perpetrated against me, past, present, or future. Every individual involved in this conspiracy, regardless of their position or title, is personally liable for their actions. This
And just to be clear, there is more than one undercover FBI agent that is involved in this case. And I can tell you that one of them, his reports consistently point out how absurd and disgusting those of you are who pretend to be offended by me stating the truth about you.
Rejected the police report I filed earlier today regarding the events of January 29th, 2025.
Pretend because it's delusion. It's a delusional thing for you to be offended.
To further criminal and fraudulent court maneuverings that were attempted and are believed to still be in progress as of 10:08 a.m. PST today. Unit 207 activity. Occupants of Unit 207 have indicated that their second premeditated breaking and entering of my residence is planned to occur expediently. While the exact timing remains unclear, their discussions suggest it could be today, tomorrow, or within the next 7 days. They have previously made over 38 attempts to illegally enter my home since the first week of August 2024. Based on their comments, they intend to use either the Owens and or another co-conspirator such as Anne Marie Bauer for this subsequent breaking and entering. January 31st, 2025, the occupants of Unit 207 expressed confidence in the issuance of fraudulent court orders dated January 31st, 2025. They believe these fabricated documents provide them with impunity.
This is a delusion.
7. Conclusion. The North Everett Precinct, in conjunction with Unit 207 and associated individuals, is engaged in a relentless campaign of criminal activity. Their actions are an affront to justice and a clear violation of the public trust. The FBI is fully aware of these developments. Accountability is imminent. Sincerely, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Date, February 4th, 2025. Time, 10:08 a.m. PST. Okay, now we're moving on to the next one. Here's my recording now, again on Twitter, but you all saw what Unit 207's added to their police report today in addition to
Unit 207, as of 3:43 a.m., believes that once again they're going to be able to terminate the live stream. A female upstairs said C as they criminally and illegally accessed the link for this video, which was set to private for the first part of the recording per the FBI's instructions.
Snohomish County Prosecutors, DCYF, neighbors, parentheses, DCYF and EPD, comma, Owens, comma, Garcia, comma, et al. Via Unit 207.
Addendum to formal judicial notice filed February 6, 2025, 7 a.m. PST. Original filing, formal judicial notice, aggravated and ongoing criminal conspiracy, obstruction of justice, evidence tampering, child abuse, child endangerment, stalking, harassment, extortion, fraud, civil rights violations, and retaliation against FBI informant by North Everett Precinct, Unit207, and associated individuals. Mandatory filing pursuant to ADA in any/all cases with my legal names, Lynette Renee Hansen, also known as Mystic Gwen. Date of original filing, February 4th, 2025, 10:08 a.m. PST. 2, Snohomish County Superior Court, North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, Snohomish County Prosecutors, et al., and forwarded to FBI. From Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. This document serves as an addendum to the formal judicial notice filed on February 4th, 2025 at 10:08 a.m. PST, and provides further information regarding subsequent events and the continued escalating criminal conspiracy perpetrated by individuals associated with the North Everett Precinct, Unit207 at 2120 Highland Ave, Everett, Washington, and their co-conspirators. 1. Incorporation of prior filing. All facts, invoices, statements, and incorporated documents referenced in the original formal judicial notice of February 4th, 2025 are hereby incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein. 2. Supplemental information, subsequent events. The following events have transpired subsequent to the filing of the aforementioned formal judicial notice, further demonstrating the ongoing criminal conspiracy, the imminent threat posed by the perpetrators, and their continued obstruction of justice. This section details further criminal acts and ongoing conspiracies.
When I send the next police report / addendum, as I've been instructed to do before 8 a.m. this morning, word to the wise, do not prevent that from being filed in each and every case. Do not prevent it from going to the sheriff's or the Seattle FBI. Or if you do,
Unit207 is
you should plan on being
attempting to
sentenced.
hack this video in my YouTube channel at 3:46 a.m. February 16th.
In certain instances where perhaps you wouldn't have been.
Over 80 years in prison, was observed engaging in frantic cellular phone communications. During this period, she actively attempted to prevent me from overhearing her conversations. Based on the context of the ongoing conspiracy.
And I know some of you are like, no, we have to call the woman that's the reason why we're all domestic terrorists, because we chose to follow her instructions and we have to tell her and get approval. No, wrong. You have a requirement, in fact, to make sure that those police reports / addendum that's coming in at 8 makes its way to all the law clerks, to the sheriff, to the FBI. We don't need to worry about it going to you guys. See, some of you are like, oh, well, we've let people know that it's an operation and blah, 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 blah. It's never been an operation. It was an operation for like 24 hours in March of 2023. Then it was an aggravated criminal conspiracy. And then on August 6th, it became a domestic terrorist organization that has actively recruited new members and been paid by the local municipality to commit crimes against, say it with me again, the city, the county, the state, the United States of America. That has abused and kidnapped civilians, illegally detained civilians, broken and entered with civilians, had disabled minors perpetrating felonies on behalf of their domestic terrorist organization.
Into my home and detain, arrest, and or unlawfully commit me. They stated that this will occur either today or by Monday.
Or to put it another way, right before you're booked, don't jihad upstairs, okay? You do that shit far away from me.
or third, depending on whether prior attempted entries are included. Breaking and entering of my residence. The first incident occurred on January 29th, 2025, and involved the exploitation of my disabled
Professionals,
sons.
all right.
The prior
Professional
attempting
domestic
entries in
terrorist.
stalking, moving of private property to do so, peering into my windows, numbering at least 38 separate instances. The current plans apparently involve utilization of co-conspirators, including but not limited to Erica and John Owens and or Anne Marie Bauer. Child abuse and exploitation. The continued involvement of and planned use of my disabled sons in these criminal activities constitutes aggravated child abuse and endangerment. These actions are a direct result of a year-long campaign of targeted abuse designed to exploit their disabilities and cause regression and escalation, which has been perpetrated by these individuals and their co-conspirators as outlined in the incorporated documents. They instructed their named co-conspirators, Erica Owens and Richard Garcia, to perpetrate abuses upon my sons on a weekly basis. Planned, quote, defenses, end quote, and obstruction. The planned defenses of this criminal enterprise, as articulated in the tort claim filed on August 14th, 2024 in case number 10-500-5934 and incorporated herein, are demonstrably fraudulent and constitute further acts of obstruction of justice. These defenses were conceived prior to many of the overt acts of this conspiracy and are now being pursued in a desperate and illegal attempt to retroactively justify their criminal conduct. They are attempting to make me cooperate with some form of prosecution by a coercion of Erica Owens. Their stated motives to the FBI and others continue to be self-serving, protecting their careers, reputations, and income has always been of primary concern to them. Coordinated, aggravated conspiracy. The entirety of their actions, as detailed, form the basis of a coordinated and aggravated conspiracy to deprive myself and my sons of our civil rights and liberties. 3. Conclusion. The information presented in this addendum, taken in conjunction with the original formal judicial notice of February 4th, 2025, and all previously incorporated documents, paints a damning picture of escalating criminal conduct. The individuals associated with the North Everett Precinct, Unit207, and their expanding network of co-conspirators demonstrate not only a blatant disregard for the law, but a stubborn commitment to their failing conspiracy.
A stubborn commitment to their failing domestic terrorist organization. Just remember, why have you not been arrested yet? Because you still have plans to further incriminate yourselves and others, and the FBI is making a final list and checking balances to determine who will indeed be going to prison for the rest of their lives. And also because of those that are excited to federally disbar, their desperation over the course of the next few weeks and seeing who amongst you willingly go and symbolically jihad yourselves again for her and him.
For themselves. The recent actions, including the continued plotting, the frantic communications, and the blatant attempts to interfere with this ongoing investigation, are not signs of strength. They are signs of desperation. The quote, cycle of subterfuge, end quote, as previously noted by the FBI, continues. But it is a cycle that is rapidly spiraling towards its inevitable conclusion. Full accountability under the law.
You can count on that.
Penalty of perjury that all of the aforementioned is true and correct. Sincerely, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic
when.
And then remember, guys, it's a whole separate crime just to tell a single lie to an FBI agent. And some of you, the FBI has multiple lies you told to them.
Stay tuned for the fourth one.
This actually
Like Mrs. 80 plus years, she has contacted the FBI directly. And lied.
2 p.m. PST. Original filing, formal judicial notice, aggravated and ongoing criminal conspiracy, obstruction of justice, evidence tampering, child abuse, child endangerment, stalking, harassment, extortion, fraud, civil rights violations, and retaliation against FBI informant by North Everett Precinct Unit 207 and associated individuals, mandatory filing pursuant to ADA and any/all cases. With my legal names, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Red. Date of original filing, February 4th, 2025, 10:08 a.m. Prior addendum, February 6th, 2025, 7 a.m. PST. To Snohomish County Superior Court, North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, Snohomish County Prosecutors, and to all and forwarded to FBI. From Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Red. Subject: supplemental information regarding further criminal activities, escalation of threats, and incurred penalties, February 7th, 2025. This document serves as a third addendum to the formal judicial notice filed on February 4th, 2025 at 10:08 a.m.
Actually, only 15 seconds.
And supplemented on February 6th, 2025. It provides further information regarding the subsequent events in the continued escalating criminal conspiracy perpetrated by individuals associated with the North Everett Precinct, Unit 207 at 2120 Highland Ave, Everett, Washington, and their co-conspirators. 1. Incorporation of prior filings. All facts, invoices, statements, and incorporated documents referenced in the original formal judicial notice of February 4th, 2025, and the addendum of February 6th, 2025, and all police reports filed are hereby incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein. 2. Supplemental information, subsequent events. The following events have transpired subsequent to the filing of the aforementioned addenda, further demonstrating the ongoing criminal conspiracy, the imminent threat posed by the perpetrators, their continued obstruction of justice, and the accrual of additional financial penalties. A. February 7th, 2025, 12:50 p.m. PST. Individuals associated with Unit 207 engaged in aggravated stalking, harassment, and criminal trespass by repeatedly and forcefully knocking on my front door. This occurred in the afternoon and was clearly intended to intimidate, harass, and disturb my peace. This action constitutes a renewed and egregious threat, escalating their prior criminal conduct. Due to the quadrupling clause triggered by the prior rejection of police reports detailing the ongoing conspiracy and threats, this incident incurs a $40 million penalty as previously invoiced and agreed upon. B. February 7th, 2025, 8:48 a.m. PST. The North Everett Precinct continuing its brazen and criminal obstruction of justice rejected 2 more legitimate police reports. The report filed on January 4th, 2025, that should actually say February 4th, at 10:08 a.m. PST, and the report filed on February 6th, 2025, at 7 a.m. PST. These rejections are further evidence of the North Everett Precinct's active participation in the criminal conspiracy and their deliberate attempt to shield their officers and co-conspirators from accountability. Due to the quadrupling clause triggered by the ongoing conspiracy and the subsequent criminal acts documented herein, this act of obstruction incurs a $40 million penalty as previously invoiced. C. February 7th, 2025, 5 a.m. EST. Occupants of Unit 207 were overheard discussing plans to, quote, double down and, quote, wage a war, end quote, specifically targeting this coming Monday and or Saturday for further criminal actions against me. This demonstrates a clear and present danger and an escalation of their threats. February 6, 2025, just before 4 p.m. PST, a female identified by the FBI as a federal felon visited Unit 207. During this visit, she provided directives to the occupants regarding actions to be taken against me, specifically while I was asleep. This is further evidence of the coordinated nature of the conspiracy and the ongoing planning of criminal acts. February 6th and 7th, 2025, multiple live stream terminations. Individuals associated with Unit 207 have on 5 separate occasions since the filing of the first addendum on February 6th, criminally and illegally terminated my YouTube live streams. These acts constitute further evidence tampering and obstruction of justice. Each instance of illegal live stream terminations incurs a $10 million penalty, as invoiced without the quadrupling due to the terminations taking place prior to the ongoing obstruction and conspiracy of the North Everett Precinct's deliberate rejection of valid police reports. Ongoing pattern of criminality. These recent events are part of a continuous and escalating pattern of criminal behavior that has persisted for over 17 months. The individuals involved have demonstrated a complete disregard for the law, a willingness to exploit vulnerable individuals, including my disabled sons, and a commitment to obstructing justice at every turn.
Unit 207 is attempting to do some sort of hacks with the YouTube. They've been on the phone for the last few minutes as well, putting in the details, just incoming 6 addendum to 2425 judicial notice and police report to NEP, i.e. the domestic terrorist organization.
Doubling of all penalties and fraudulent court orders are used in conjunction with any illegal act. Quadrupling
At
of
all.
These fees for any of the above criminal
By
acts they are perpetrated within 7
8
days of
a.m.
rejected police report regarding said acts.
PSD.
$10 million for the rejection of legitimate police reports constituting obstruction of justice. $10 million for the incident of stalking, harassment, ADA violations, criminal trespass, and witness intimidation on February 7th, 2025 at 12:50 p.m. $10 million per instance of illegally terminating a YouTube live stream. The current actions of the North Everett Precinct in Unit 207 as documented in this report have incurred an additional $130 million in penalties. $80 million from today's AM.
Your total is literally in the billions. I'm bad at math, but the FBI did confirm. Because of the amount of termination since the 11th, you literally owe me over $1 billion. Or rather, your domestic terrorist organization does.
Demonstrating a blatant disregard for the law and the ongoing federal investigation. Their actions are not only criminal, but also morally reprehensible.
And also without any immunity.
Of their crimes. The FBI is fully aware of these developments. I demand immediate action to stop this ongoing criminal conspiracy and to hold all those involved accountable for their actions. I declare under penalty of perjury that all of the aforementioned is true and correct. Sincerely, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, date February 7th, 2025, time 1:45 p.m. PST. Now I'm going to go over to.
Okay, now we're going to go to the latest one from today, which Unit 207 thinks that they can somehow manipulate or use in their favor. They plan on proceeding with their planned crimes. Remember, they've had crimes planned for Monday since last week when I made the first filing on February 4th. So pay attention to this one, because contrary to Unit 207, the FBI is very confident that this one right here, this one right here, stalkers. This one right here, stalkers. Is going to prove very important to your entire spring season.
Okay, we are going to do a recording of the latest addendum / police report. I'm not recording this one on Twitter since we know that Unit 207 has technically destroyed that as well in their ongoing pattern of obstruction of justice and evidence tampering. Third addendum to formal judicial notice of February 8, 2025 at 7:12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Motherfuckers.
Date of original filings, February 4th, 2025.
Hey, just remember, it's not March yet. You should have 2 weeks at minimum. It's not March yet, ladies. February 16th.
25, 7 a.m. PST.
Unit 207's whole domestic terrorist organization has actively been trying to terminate this. They've been running in and out of their unit for hours this morning. And you had lots of people running in and out of it to perpetrate your domestic terrorism, most notably preventing me from sending those offline videos to the FBI yesterday morning. Huge no-no. Huge crime.
Criminal activities.
Anyway.
Escalation of threats, evidence tampering, continued child abuse, and incurred penalties. February 8th, 2025. Demand for immediate action and notice of intent to seek maximum.
Or to put it another way, the FBI has stated they have surveillance of everyone that went in and out of your unit since the 11th.
The formal judicial notice filed on February 4th, 2025 at 10:08 a.m. PST and previously supplemented. It provides further crucial information regarding subsequent events, the continued escalation of the criminal conspiracy,
which is part of the evidentiary value. Apparently somebody was up there, they wanted to catch footage of going in and out.
Further acts of retaliation, and the accrual of additional financial penalties against those perpetrating these crimes.
More than one, FYI. The FBI clarified that, more than one.
Documenting these new crimes.
More than one they were happy to get surveillance of.
Prior filings by reference. All facts, invoices, statements, and incorporated documents referenced in the original formal judicial notice of February 4th, 2025, the addendums of February 6th and 7th, 2025, and all police reports filed by Lynette Renee Hansen from June 2024 to the present date, and any future date are hereby incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein. This specifically includes, but is not limited to, Declaration of Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, dated December 14th, 2024, revised 8:07 p.m. PST due to unlawful tampering. Addendum to Declaration dated December 19th, 2024. Addendum and amendment to Declaration dated December 29th, 2024. Tort claim filed August 14th, 2024, case number 10500594, served upon the North Everett Precincts, Snohomish County Prosecutors et al.
Attempting to initiate Gemini AI Nerd Squad with the real Mystic Gwen.
Prior child abuse and plans for super felonies. The dated
Selecting upgrade at 5:52 a.m.
Page predated even that filing. It is to be noted per that tort claim, those named within it and their co-conspirators had planned to not only have the actionable kidnappings take place using my multiple times convicted stalker and abuser and my extortionist mother, but they also, and I quote, had quote, super felonies planned. All police reports filed since June 2024 by me, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. 2. Correction to the
Unit 207 is actively attempting to hack Gemini AI too, I might add, Nerd Squad. After getting the payment error, the exact same thing that you stated would show up, showed up. Gemini 1.
3, supplemental information, subsequent criminal acts and escalation. A, status of front door and illegal detention. My front door has remained continuously closed and locked since January 2nd, 2025, per explicit FBI instructions. The sole exception was the forced entry on January 29th, 2025, perpetrated by my disabled sons and illegally kidnapped sons under the direction of this criminal conspiracy. The FBI has instructed me to keep my door closed until the perpetrators are apprehended or until they attempt another illegal entry. As of today, February 8th, 2025, I have been illegally detained within my own residence for 184 days since August 6, 2024. B, February 7th, 2025, evidence tampering, obstruction of justice, and continued threats. Live stream interference.
They're hacking the Gmail and preventing me from getting the PayPal verification code at 5:54 a.m.
Individuals associated
Now,
with Unit 207.
Figure it out, Unit 207. Enough of your domestic terrorism. You're going to prison for the rest of your lives. Clock out. Go to the FBI field office. It's Monday. Everyone will be there. Everyone will be there that knows who you are.
It is strongly suspected that these actions were taken to either A, create a false...
Still blocking it, Nerd Squad at 5:54. Cannot initiate the Gemini AI. Still 100% the result of Unit 207. Per your own statements, everything that you stated would occur visibly is exactly what I'm looking at over and over again at 5:54 a.m.
Unit 207 engaged in aggravated stalking, harassment, and criminal trespass. C, February 8th, 2025, 5:30 a.m. PST, confirmation of imminent break-in. As of approximately 5:30 a.m. PST on February 8th, 2025, a male in Unit 207 confirmed plans for an imminent break-in involving numerous officers from the North Everett.
Domestic terrorists are still preventing it, Nerd Squad. No verification code sent at all.
And specifically reported to the North Everett precincts, County.
Or rather, it was sent and then it was obstructed, tampered with, etc. Clicking send a new code.
February 23rd, because the attorneys involved, at least 2 of whom are facing federal.
Maybe now I'll get the first
are
one.
aware that this conspiracy will result in additional and more serious charges being filed. D, prior knowledge and warnings. It is crucial to emphasize that the North Everett precinct, the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office, DCYF, and named individuals, including Richard Garcia and Erica Owens, have been repeatedly warned about their illegal activities and the consequences thereof. These warnings include 11 months of cease and desist letters directly sent to the involved parties and a revolving cast of 3rd, 4th, and 5th parties, beginning in September.
They're still blocking it. So apparently they've effectively made it so that I can't utilize PayPal anymore, like you said that they would be attempting to do anyway. As of 5:56 a.m., I'll be incorporating that in the next police report that's going out before 8 a.m. Domestic terrorist. Or you're going to figure it the fuck out. I should have 2 codes in here, and I don't have them only because of your domestic terrorist organization.
And Unit 207, prohibiting trespassing, knocking without a warrant, stalking, and other criminal activities. These signs were in addition to signs that had been in place for over a year prior, and then the FBI had me add them to the last, page of the August 14th, 2024 tort claim. August 14th, 2024 tort claim. This document was made after 11 months of cease and desist letters failed to do anything, and the kidnappings, illegal detainment, etc. were planned for the weeks after. This document detailed the planned felonies, named the conspirators, and outlined the financial penalties for their actions, including their defenses, i.e. obstruction / conspiracy / etc. Numerous police reports, repeatedly filed police reports documenting the ongoing threats and criminal activities have been consistently rejected by the North Everett.
Verification code received and imputed.
Reported for weeks and months prior, published about in December 2023 on my personal Twitter account, x.com/realmysticwed. Direct communication, all conspirators except Erica and John Owens were explicitly informed beginning August 6, 2024, that I was not authorized to communicate with them, read anything from them, or cooperate with them in any way. The Owens were informed shortly after their involvement in the second actionable kidnapping. Per the FBI's instructions, cease and desist letters in August 14th toward claim filed in case
Clicking
number
upgrade once again on
5505934.
the AI, starting free
Despite
trial
these
again.
warnings, the conspirators have
Still
sent
getting
over
1.google
48 individuals to my door and engaged
from the
in constant
DTs.
exterior stalking just since the first week of August. They did the same thing for the 11 months prior, and they were getting cease and desist letters. Involvement of Everett Public School District. The potential involvement of the Everett Public School District, an institution with which I had a long and positive relationship as
They're resending me to once again select what I already selected.
Enhanced teaching volunteer and donor is noted with grave concern. This highlights the sprawling nature of the conspiracy and its willingness to corrupt and exploit various institutions. I volunteered for an average of 40 hours a week from 2012/2013 to the start of 2020 and donated tens of thousands to the school district.
Subscribed finally at 5:59 a.m.
Unit207 and or their co-conspirators have blocked my podcast from being uploaded to Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Audible. They have also had X.com block all access via my dedicated podcast Twitter, x.com/mysticwinpod. I will create a YouTube Livestream part 2 of my prior, titled Mystic Win versus the North Everett Precinct, the fraudsters, the stalker, the
Now they're preventing me from navigating to PayPal to remove the email account that they've rendered useless.
FBI timeline and intent. The FBI informed me in December 2024 of their plans to incarcerate officers involved in the conspiracy in March 2025. Subject to change based on the conspirators' actions. Unit207 statements indicate they believe they have no alternative but to proceed with their planned illegal entry, arrest, committal, or kidnapping before February 23rd. As the involved attorneys are aware of the increased severity of charges they will face after that date. 4. Financial penalties updated. Following financial penalties previously invoiced and contractually agreed upon are reiterated and updated. $100,000 per day for each day of my ongoing illegal detention. Now
They're doing all sorts of hacks.
180 days. $10 million for any attempted illegal entry into my residence, increased to $25 million if I was asleep at the time. This penalty applies to the recent breaking and entering on January 29th, 2025. $10 million for the use of my sons and/or for coercive.
They're actively hacking the PayPal account. The page isn't working for me to manage accounts. They're navigating to pages I'm not clicking on at 6:01 a.m. The page should be working. The domestic terrorists upstairs are preventing it from functioning. The men, most notably. Everything you're doing right now
$10 million for the rejection of legitimate
is criminal in domestic terrorism, you dumb fucks.
All reports rejected to date. $10 million for each instance of illegally terminating a YouTube.
Too many redirects is the fraudulent error code that I'm receiving, and they're refusing to allow me to click on the back button.
$10 million for each and every instance of harassment. $10 million for each and every instance of ADA violations. $10 million for each and every instance of civil rights violations. $10 million for the incident of stalking, harassment, ADA violations, criminal trespass, and
Now they're forcing me to log in yet again.
2025 at 12:50 p.m.
Something they keep having me do.
Additional
You're all going to be
penalties
charged
for
with that.
February
God, I
7th
cannot
events,
wait until you're in prison.
quadruple
I am
rate.
so
$40,000
excited for you all to
or
go
$40
to
million for the
prison.
not and $40 million for the
Preventing me
obstruction
from
based
logging
on
in
the
again,
reports.
waiting for
Additional
PayPal for no
penalties
reason,
for
really
life
waiting for the
terminations
domestic
or
terrorist
terminations
upstairs.
times 10 million equals 40 million.
They're not even allowing it to initiate into that page now, Nerd Squad. Anything they can do to prevent me from removing the account that they'd like to try and steal another $21 from my PayPal account with. Mystic Gwen Lynette Renee Hansen at gmail.com.
Evidence of the aggravated and ongoing criminal conspiracy targeting me.
That's the only reason you're doing this, you dumb fuck upstairs. It's 100% a guy upstairs that's responsible. Well, a couple of guys upstairs and a girl that wants him to. Waiting for t.paypal. HTTPS, HTTS.
Demonstrates a complete and utter disregard for the law, for my rights,
and for the well-being of my children. Their attempts to obstruct justice, tamper with evidence, and intimidate a federal witness are not only failing, but are actively
Preventing me from going into my PayPal, preventing everything that I've been instructed to do, which was to remove that account that you guys are attempting to utilize to steal more money from me. Before you do that,
and of the premeditated, illegal, and consistently reported felonies that
have
they
I told
were
you
involved
lately, you child abusing, stalking, thieving fraudsters, you hackers,
Federal Bureau of Investigation is fully
stalkers,
aware.
stalkers, stalkers, fraudsters, child abusers, domestic terrorists, domestic terrorists. In less than 31 days, your ass is done. You're in jail.
Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, date February 8th,
They're preventing me from going anywhere within my PayPal or removing that account or seeing my account, anything and everything, Nerd Squad, since they sent me to that fraudulent air page.
And this video is going to double not just as the part 2 for Mystic Gwen versus the North Devon Precinct fraudsters.
Let me end this here. Remember, you're hearing a prior recording right now. End me at the same time.
We'll say 12 hours. I have zero intention of.
Okay, so we have one more addendum to go over, but again, like I said,
Over and
at the
over and
beginning
over
of
and
this,
over again, Nerd Squad.
Live stream. This one sort of became
Literally
irrelevant
completely
based
blocking
on
me
the
from
litany
even
of
looking at my
additional
PayPal account
crimes.
at this
There are
point at
updates in,
6:04
the
a.m.
description for some of the preceding live streams that tell you things about like police officers coming over here just to help with the obstruction, evidence tampering. The big kicker is the fact that they had the gall to prevent me from sending offline videos to the FBI yesterday in the morning. Huge criminal no-no.
Same thing, Nerd Squad. They're locked into it. They won't allow it.
That they've perpetrated.
Remember, every
and that
penny
they
you've
truly
stolen from me, I'm getting over $1,000 on at this point. You literally are the reason why you owe me billions. You're the reason your police department and precinct is going to be all over national news much sooner than you expect.
Abdicating, end quote. To put that another way, forcibly removing from power. So we are going to read one additional. This one is from 214.
Completely
It is
blocking the
the
ability
fifth
to
and
even
final
open up
addendum to the
PayPal,
formal
Nerd Squad, at
judicial
6:05 a.m.
But
Again,
before I get to that,
now I
just wanna
can't even
clarify
go to
a
the
few things.
fraudulent page that
During the
they
entirety
forced
of
me
this
to go
live
to
stream, there
after
have
they
been
criminally and
numerous
illegally prevented me from
individuals in
removing
Unit
that
207
account.
coming and going for over an hour, actively attempting to once again end this live stream, erase it, prevent it from functioning, and their entire legal defense right now in their minds. They don't have a legal defense. They don't realize that.
What you all don't realize
when I
is
said
you've
that
been
they've
the
a domestic terrorist
targets
organization
since day
August,
one.
That is something even
You
the federal marshals
have
know.
been
These
the
people haven't been
targets.
allowed to enter into a country without an extradition agreement with the United States since August. Not one of them. They can fly to Indonesia.
Same thing, Nerd Squad.
for
It's
instance.
6:06. They're
But
just
they can't
flat out
enter
not even
Indonesia.
allowing
They might
one to
even
go
get
to
all the way
PayPal in
customs,
any way,
only
shape,
to
or
then
form.
be greeted by a couple of federal marshals who would put them on a plane and promptly bring them back to the U.S. And so let's go over some quotes from the FBI.
Taking a screenshot. I will
Following has been
add it
said
into the
by
description
FBI
here.
since
And we'll add
August.
it into
Quote,
the domestic terrorist
officers
addendum
take
police
an
report
oath
today.
to
Oh, now
serve
they're
and
preventing
protect.
me from editing this
North
live
Devon
stream as
Precinct
well. Oh,
takes
okay,
an
finally
oath to
opened.
abuse and deflect. That constitutes domestic terrorism, end quote. Another quote on the North Devon Precinct. Quote, they've been renamed the precinct.
6
of
a.m.
stalkers,
to
end quote.
6:07
That came in
a.m.
January. For those of you that don't know,
Domestic
North Devon
terrorists,
Precinct
men
has
and
been
women
known by
upstairs.
every FBI employee in this state for well over a year. Collectively, as the precinct of
Hack
fraudsters.
and revoke the one
If you say
financial
precinct of
mean.
fraudsters, even to the paper pushers of the FBI in this state, they know instantaneously you're referring to
They
the
have
North
left me
Everett
with
precinct.
since
So they've also said the following quote,
they
quote, there will be an
transformed
exodus
from an
at the North Everett
aggravated
precinct, end quote. And on Unit 207 explicitly, they've said this quote since prior
Criminal
to them making the jump from
conspiracy
an aggravated criminal conspiracy
slash
which is what they've been,
enterprise
again, since March/April 2023 for many people's indictments, particularly the women they're so excited to throw in prison.
To a
Since
domestic
September
terrorist
2023 and
organization.
others. And then there's some new blood up there, and I don't really know where they sit or stand, who have only been there since it's been a domestic terrorist organization and not just the aggravated criminal
On
conspiracy
August
and criminal
6th.
enterprise that it's actually been for the
2024
years up to.
at 11:55 p.m.
So here's that quote on Unit207 explicitly.
PST.
Quote, they are
Saved
not
in the description.
nearly as smooth as they like.
I'm
to
done attempting.
imagine. End
You'll
quote.
be convicted for that as well, guys.
So,
It'll go
it
in the
is now
report.
4:24 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
The report and
Sunday,
addendum as
February
well.
16th,
A
2025.
lot for me to throw in
Again,
there.
I want to say thank you so much to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, to the Snohomish County Sheriffs, to the Seattle Federal Marshals.
And
to the
remember,
Attorney General's
every
office,
rejected
and
police
to
report
every
is
other
what?
individual
That's right,
that
10 million
sent
flat.
off my
Past,
SOS
present,
as a
future.
result
You
of
owe
the
me
federal felons
billions
upstairs
of
and their
dollars.
variety of felonies
Billions.
and ongoing criminality just since the fifth addendum that I'm about to read to you. And then I also
While
wanna
you're
let
in
everybody
prison,
know,
I'm going to have
this is
billions
now
of
the
dollars.
updated Part 2 of Mystic Gwen versus the North Everett Precinct of Fraudsters, the Stalker, the Extortionist et al. There was a previous video that was labeled as such, but since then, there's been so much rampant criminality that this video was necessary. So it is going to serve as another part 2, but this is the real part 2. I may or may not throw it onto mysticgwen.com on the page I dedicated to the North Everett Precinct of Fraudsters. Currently, the video that's up there is the video that was marked as part 2, but that was missing February 13th addendum, which again, the FBI feels is a very powerful addendum, even though Unit 207 does not agree with that assessment. And it also does not include the addendum I'm about to read. The addendum I'm about to read, though, basically, it's sort of irrelevant at this point because, again, this was submitted February 14th in the morning. And if you just take a look at my YouTube channel, you'll see every video that has either an image that's like a decade old of my kids at the beach and or no photo of me from last month is a different video they've criminally and illegally shut off, knowing that that costs them $10 million a pop, or as is the case right now, $40 million a pop due to their rejection of legitimate police reports. As recently as Friday the 14th, an hour after Mrs. 80 plus years was here and actively telling everyone upstairs to terminate my live stream, and she did. And then she prevented me from making any live streams. And then the next day, I speculate, she instructed them to prevent me from sending those offline recordings to the FBI and the sheriffs. Now, I don't know for sure that she instructed them of that, but that level of crime is heinous, it's egregious, and it's something that only someone knowing they're going to prison for the rest of their lives would ever have the gall to instruct a citizen, a civilian, let alone a public servant
Yep.
to do.
And remember,
The FBI informant
that was
from
a
sending the offline
huge
videos
no.
to the sheriffs and the FBI. Now, that being said, some of you may be wondering, well, why did it persist for so
They're
many
preventing
days,
it from
you know?
sending
I'll
anything on
discuss the
Gemini.
video.
Something went
I was
wrong.
wondering
Yeah,
the
something went
same
wrong. All
thing.
right. The domestic terrorist
The FBI
upstairs.
said it's because it provided a litany of evidentiary value, i.e., really big deal that you guys were preventing me from sending the offline recordings to the FBI. Really big deal. Really big deal. So let's go to the fifth addendum. All right.
They're not
so,
allowing me to send
I'll read this,
anything
but
at all
really,
on Gemini
you should
AI at
only
6:12
primarily pay attention to
a.m.
The first hour and 25 minutes of this video.
Even though it's
'Cause
just
this
been
part is
paid
just gonna be
for.
like a regurgitation of everything you already know. Even if you're not a member of the domestic terrorist organization, if you've been following along at all, even just once a week, you've already picked up on it because you've looked at my YouTube channel. So here we go. This is going to be read verbatim via the Facebook post. And then I'm going to post this on Facebook.
Same thing, Nerd Squad at 6:12 a.m.
And I think I will
Opening
add it
Gmail
to,
where I should have a
mysticgwen.com
receipt for the subscription I just
page
paid
that's
for that
dedicated
they're
to
criminally and illegally
this
preventing me
domestic
from
terrorist
accessing,
organization, this
in
aggravated
addition
criminal
to what
conspiracy.
they've done with the
This criminal
PayPal this
enterprise.
morning
Here we go.
at 6:13 a.m.
2:14, 3:28 p.m. Unit 207.
Yep, I have my
North
receipt.
Everett Precinct. Snohomish County Prosecutors et al. Unit 207.
My receipt
blocking
from
all
over 10
YouTube
minutes
live
ago
streams as
that
of
they're preventing me
2:26
from
p.m.
accessing the
2:14.
things that I have paid for.
Fifth addendum to
Further
formal judicial
theft
notice filed February
and an
14th,
act of
2025,
domestic
10:56
terrorism.
a.m. PST.
Also, you're
Original
attempting
filing.
to once
Formal
again
judicial notice
fuck
of
with the
aggravated
federal
ongoing criminal
investigation
conspiracy,
because you
obstruction of
know
justice, evidence
what
tampering,
this is used for.
child abuse.
Yeah.
Child
And it's only
endangerment,
used for what it's
aggravated,
used
I might
for
add,
because
aggravated.
of your domestic terrorist organization. That's the only
Stalking.
reason. Otherwise, we'd be corresponding directly. But because of
Harassment.
you targets upstairs, this is what I need to use, and you're
Fraud.
blocking it
Civil rights violations.
as an act of domestic terrorism that
ADA
you will
violations.
all be individually charged for obstructing me from
And-
talking to the FBI
and
again.
Pay attention to this one. Retaliation against FBI informants.
They're blocking it in every way that you can
By
imagine,
North Everett
Nerd Squad.
Precinct, Unit 207.
It's not allowing me to send
and
anything
associated
whatsoever.
individuals. Mandatory filing pursuant to
Sending me an
ADA,
error
slash
message
all
because of
cases
the
with my
domestic
legal names,
terrorist
Lynette
upstairs.
Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Date of original filing. For those of you that are like, oh, I've already heard all of this. You're right. I have to go over this because
Close
it
the
lets
tab
everybody know
completely.
what other documents they should be looking at and considering while hearing this to have the totality of the situation.
Opened a new window.
All right, so date of original filing, the February 4th, 2025, 10:08 a.m. PST judicial
Closing
notice.
it.
That was the
It was
second document
open.
you heard in this specific recording because we began with the February 13th one. And that was more as a courtesy for those people
Opening
who haven't been
Gemini
able to get
AI
any sort of
again.
updates since the 13th, basically because of the rampant criminality of Unit 207, the North Everett Precinct, and everyone else that the FBI appreciates. They got video recordings of entering the unit, being called even at 1:55 in the morning. You know, the evidentiary value that the FBI said was why they allowed it.
Yep, still getting the same thing. They're completely blocking the use of it,
Okay.
even though I just paid
Previous
for it
addendums.
to attempt
February
to
6th,
circumvent me from
2025,
talking to the
7 a.m.
FBI and
February
getting
7th,
what I need.
2025, 1:45
You
p.m.
guys are
Correction
so
previous
fucked.
documents. Error was
You
incorrect.
stupid
Clearly
sacks of
labeled
shit.
it as
I
third bed.
cannot wait until I'm live
February 8th,
streaming you getting
2025.
arrested.
7:12 a.m. February 13th, 2025, 3:49 a.m. to Snohomish County Superior Court, North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, Snohomish County Prosecutors et al., and forwarded to FBI. From Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Subject. Fifth
Now they're
addendum.
preventing the arrow from even functioning. Let's try
Further
using voice to
criminal
text.
acts, including attempts to suborn,
The domestic
perjury for
terrorist-
fraudulent court orders.
The domestic terrorists in Unit
Cybercrimes.
207 are preventing me
And
from sending anything when I type it,
continued
even though I just paid for this
retaliation
subscription
against
again,
FBI
so that I can correspond with the
enforcement.
FBI, which they know.
February 14th,
And the men and women
2025,
upstairs are doing that as
specific
further acts of
criminal
domestic
statute
terrorism, in addition to the
violations.
litany of crimes they've been perpetrating
Documents
nonstop
versus the
since
fifth addendum
February
to formal
11th,
judicial notice
but most
filed on
notably
February
since
4th,
Friday.
2025.
Will this send
It
since
details
I'm
further
using the
criminal acts
microphone
perpetrated
instead
by
of
individuals
typing?
associated with the North Everett Precinct, NEP. Unit 207 at 2120 Highland Ave, Everett, Washington. And their
Nope.
co-conspirators.
Nope, it won't. Nerd Squad
This
screenshotting it
addendum
again.
also functions as a
6:17
formal
a.m.
Police report and includes specific references to applicable Washington State RCW, Washington Administrative Code WAC, and United States Code USC violations. 1. Incorporation of prior filings, all facts, invoices, statements, and incorporated documents from the original formal judicial notice of February 4th, 2025, and all subsequent addendums, February 6th, 7th, 8th, and 13th, 2025. And all police reports filed by Lynette Renee Hansen from June 2024 to the present are incorporated by reference. This includes, but is not limited to, the tort claim filed August 14th, 2024, case number 10-5005934. All police reports filed since June 2024 by Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. 2. New criminal acts, February 14th, 2025, with statutory violations. The following criminal acts have occurred since the fourth addendum, demonstrating a continued escalation.
Gmail.com. It
Each
says
act
it's
is
waiting for
followed by
YouTube
relevant
because of the
statutes
domestic terrorist
potentially
upstairs.
violated.
Nerd Squad, as you said it
10:34
would
a.m.
at 6:18 a.m.
Unit 207 is actively attempting to acquire further fraudulent court orders to terminate my entire YouTube channel. They've already blocked the creation of new channels via any email since my illegal detention began on August 6, 2024. RCW 9A.72, perjury in the second degree if false statements were made to obtain the orders. RCW 9A.72, false swearing. RCW 9A.60, forgery if documents were falsified. RCW 961, cyber stalking using electronic communications to harass, intimidate, torment, or embarrass. RCW 9A.72.120, obstructing a law enforcement officer.
Also,
That one applies because
no
you
email
prevented me
about
from
this live stream
sending
that's been running for an hour and 36
those offline
minutes.
recordings to the FBI, so it applies extra hard. And this is just regarding.
A
before
guy
we did
upstairs chuckled,
that. Okay,
I'll be
back to,
chuckling when you're getting
reading.
hammered in the ass in prison, dude.
U.S. Code 18, Section 1512, tampering with the witness, victim, or an informant. U.S. Code 18, Section 242, deprivation of rights. U.S. Code 18, Section 1519, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations. That's an important one, too, because according to the FBI, you guys have done nothing but that since August. A lot of counts of that one. Where were we at? Okay, U.S. Code 42, Section 12203, prohibition against interference.
The domestic
and
terrorist
coercion under
upstairs
ADDENDUM.
in Unit 207, who previously were police
Ongoing
officers of the North
obstruction,
Everett
211 to
precinct,
214.
are
Unit 207
actively
has
impeding a
continued to
federal
obstruct and tamper with
investigation as
nearly
they've been
all
doing
live streams
incessantly
except
since
for
the
2 or 3
11th
between
of
February
this month,
11th
and
and
have
3 in the
prevented me
morning
from
on
utilizing
February
this
14th.
service in any way, shape, or form to prevent me from
RCW
corresponding with the
9A.76,
FBI,
intimidating a witness. RCW
as well as a litany of other
9.61,
crimes,
cyber
which all need to be
US Code
addressed in the
18,
next hour and
Section
40
1512,
minutes.
tampering with the witness, victim,
They're
or
currently in
informant.
Unit 207
US
and
Code
feeling good
18,
about
Section
themselves because they
1519,
haven't yet been detained.
destruction,
But they want to be
alteration,
feeling
or
good about themselves if
falsification
they
of
have
records in
any
federal
idea of what the
investigations.
sergeants in surrounding
10:13
police
a.m.
departments think about them. Which
Further,
is that you
domestic
should all
terrorist
be in prison where you're
Unit
going.
207 is actively using 3 domestic terrorists soon to be detained to terminate the current live stream. RCW 9A.76, intimidating a witness. RCW 9.61, cyber stalking. RCW 9A.76, obstructing a law enforcement officer if hindering an investigation, preventing me from sending those offline recordings to the FBI yesterday morning. Did I mention how very, very much of a no-no that was? U.S. Code 18, Section 1512, tampering with the witness, victim, or informant. U.S. Code 18, Section 2331, definitions related to domestic terrorism. U.S. Code 18, Section 2332B, acts of terrorism transcending national boundaries. U.S. Code 42, Section 12203, prohibition against interference and coercion under ADA. 8:55 a.m. One domestic terrorist left Unit 207 to go to the North Everett precinct, their base of operations. RCW 9A.76, intimidating a witness if purpose was to coordinate further obstruction, and it was. RCW 9A.04, liability for conduct of another, complicity.
Same thing at
US
6:22
Code
a.m.
18, Section 2, principles, aiding and abetting. U.S. Code 18, Section 371, conspiracy to commit offense or to defraud the United States. 8:52 a.m. Unit 207 ended a prior live stream and is actively deploying the 3 domestic terrorists to end the current one. RCW 9A.76, intimidating a witness. RCW 9.61, cyber stalking. U.S. Code 18.
Attempting to
Section
upload an
15,
image
tampering with
of
witness,
the
victim, or
domestic
informant.
terrorism to
7:23
Gemini. I've
a.m.
never
PST.
uploaded an
Unit
image
207
before.
responsible for
Trying to
more
send
than
it.
one ingestion is using the primary
That didn't send
URL.
either.
Send one stream to the primary ingestion URL and one stream to the backup URL. RCW 9A.76, intimidating a witness. RCW 9.61, cyber stalking. U.S. Code 18, Section 1512, tampering with the witness, victim, or informant. U.S. Code 18, Section 1519, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations. Did I mention how big of a no-no it was to not send the offline?
They're
videos
hacking
to the
into my
FBI
security
yesterday?
settings as well for this
Oh, I
account.
did. Quite a few times, eh? All right, continuing.
At 6:24 a.m.
1:56 a.m. PST, a North Everett precinct officer entered Unit 207 to aid fellow domestic
2
terrorists
sessions
in
on
terminating
Google
the live
Chrome
stream and
because
furthering
they're
their plans for a code
upstairs
break-in, their own detainment and
being
derailment.
felons.
RCW 9A.52, burglary in the second degree if entering a dwelling with the intent to commit a crime. RCW 9A.76, intimidating a witness. RCW 9A.76, obstructing a law enforcement officer. RCW 9A.04, liability for conduct of another, complicity. U.S. Code 18, Section 2, principles, aiding and abetting. U.S. Code 18, Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law.
Same thing. It's
US Code
preventing me
18,
even
Section
after I
371.
went into my account and
Conspiracy
removed
to
the
commit offense
hack from
or to
the
defraud
15th where they hopped onto my account.
United States. U.S. Code 18, Section 1512, tampering with a witness, victim, or an informant. U.S. Code 18, Section 242, deprivation of rights. U.S. Code 14, Section 12203, prohibition against interference and coercion under ADA. Midnight, 213 into 214. Unit 207 planned another break-in in collaboration with fellow domestic terrorists from the North Everett precinct, Snohomish County prosecutors, et al. RCW 9A.52, burglary in the second degree if entering a dwelling with intent to commit a crime. RCW 9A.28, criminal attempt. RCW 9A.76, intimidating a witness. RCW 9A.76, obstructing a law enforcement officer. RCW 9A.04, liability for conduct of another, complicity. Fortunately, this isn't in the report, but some of the people in Unit 207, like I've already stated, are not only whistleblowers and not only victims themselves, but also they are not tolerating that shit anymore. They may be at risk for retaliation, which again, the FBI has stated they absolutely are, more severe than what I've experienced. And I have experienced everything short of murder and my own personal kidnapping at this point. Oh, and I haven't been unlawfully and illegally arrested and or committed and or kidnapped personally yet. Okay, back to the reading. Where was I at? We did the midnight, aiding and abetting, deprivation, complicity. Okay. U.S. Code 18, Section 2, principles, aiding and abetting. U.S. Code 18, Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. U.S. Code 18, Section 371, conspiracy to commit offense or to defraud United States. U.S. Code, which, let's go back to that.
Using
This one, guys, US
contingency
Code
in
18,
place, created a new
Section
account
371.
titled
You're guilty of that every time.
Domestic
you've been
Terrorist,
in the
North
Snohomish
Everett
County
Precinct,
Superior
guilty.
Courthouse.
6:27 a.m.
Let that
Adding account in incognito mode.
Did you catch that? Conspiracy to commit offense or to defraud
Setting the
United
email
States.
address as domestic terrorist from
Your
North
domestic
Everett
terrorist
Precinct.
organization, which used to just be an aggravated criminal conspiracy. Every court document, all of which are fraudulent, all of which have been illegally enforced at the risk of putting everyone enforcing them in prison themselves. Each and every one of those constitutes you attempting to defraud the United States because you've known since before
Email
you got any
address,
of them.
domestic
before.
terrorist from the North
Months
Ev
before
at
that
gmail.com.
the FBI
Eve.
was investigating you. You got those because some of those attorneys that are facing federal disbarment thought they were smarter than the FBI.
Selecting don't save my account.
and
Don't
that they
save
wouldn't
my
get
app
caught.
or activity.
Each and every
Selecting
one
I
of those
agree.
was an attempt to impede a federal investigation by your domestic terrorist organization
Going back to Gemini.
and to defraud the United States. And also, per the FBI and according to the Attorney General, the state of
Without an
Washington,
upgrade writing test.
your employer.
They're preventing that from functioning as well.
Back to the report. Where were we at? U.S. Code 18, Section 1512, tampering with the witness, victim, or an informant. U.S. Code 18, Section 242, deprivation of rights. U.S. Code 42, Section 12203, prohibition against interference and coercion under ADA. 3, status of front door and illegal detention. My front door has remained continually closed and locked since January 2nd, 2025, per explicit FBI instructions. The sole exception was the forced entry on January 29th, 2025, perpetrated by my disabled sons under the direction of this criminal conspiracy, following 19 days of constant planning, discussions within Unit 207, and numerous rejected police reports regarding it 2 hours prior to the crimes, and even an hour after the criminal act, and one other 12 hours earlier. 3 total on January 29th. The FBI has instructed me to keep my door closed until the perpetrators are apprehended or
Creating another account on the other laptop. And it is going to be titled North Everett
until they attempt another illegal
Precinct
entry.
of Terrorist.
As of today, February 14th, 2025, I have been illegally detained within my own
6:30
residence
a.m.
for over 190 days since August 6, 2024. The door will remain closed regardless of any attempts by the North Everett Precinct, Unit 207, or their co-conspirators to force entry, whether through physical means, fraudulent court
Email
orders,
address is unit
or the continued
207
illegal termination of my
is
YouTube live streams or
NEP
deactivation of my channel.
terrorist
These actions are intended to
at
prevent their
gmail.com.
further
Unit
criminal
207
actions,
is NEP terrorist
which
at
include but are not
gmail.com.
limited to breaking and entering,
6:31 a.m.
unlawful arrest / committal / kidnapping, and their stated plans to illegally search, seize, and plant / tamper with
Again,
evidence.
Nerd Squad.
For
Unit 207 is
clarification
NEP
regarding
terrorist
detention
at
and
gmail.com.
restrictions,
Terrorist
have
spelled
spent 1 hour 5 feet away from my living room in December.
TERRORISTS.
There was one exception in late December 2024. On that single occasion, I briefly entered the living room of my immediate neighbor's apartment, with whom I share a northern wall, and which is
Selecting
less
don't
than 5
save my
feet
web
from
and
my
app
own living room.
activity.
This visit was conducted while my live stream was running.
Selecting don't
This
save my
Brief
YouTube
visit
history.
does not alter the
Clicking
fact
agree.
of my ongoing illegal
6:32
detention.
a.m.
Furthermore, due to the actions of this criminal conspiracy, I have been unable to access my mailbox, take out garbage, or dispose of recycling since August. 5. No immunity. Domestic terrorism clarification. The actions of the North Everett Precinct, Unit 207, and their co-conspirators individually and collectively are not part of any legitimate law enforcement operation. These actions were never part of any legitimate operation. They constitute a premeditated, ongoing, and aggravated criminal conspiracy and a domestic terrorist organization. 6, financial penalties updated. All previously
Bringing me to their
financial
hacking
penalties
interface
remain in effect and
upstairs
are cured
repeatedly,
daily.
Nerd Squad.
These include, but are not limited to, 100,000 per day for illegal detention, now over 190 days.
Again, Nerd
10
Squad.
million per illegal entry attempt, increased to 25 million if asleep, plus multipliers for fraudulent court orders and rejected police reports. 10 million per instance of live stream termination. 10 million for stalking.
Actively hacking
million for
the
harassment.
interface
10
and
million
everything else
per
as they
offense.
have been.
Per day,
Have I told
for
you
all
lately
other
you're
crimes,
going to
including
prison?
but not limited to civil rights violations and ADA violations. Additional penalties continue to
There will be
accrue
no
for the February
leniency
14th,
for those who
2025
obstruct, tamper,
I
and
declare the penalty of
intimidate.
perjury
There is
before
no
drawing history in
immunity
threats.
for
Sincerely,
following
Renee Hansen,
unlawful
AKA Mystic
instructions.
Wednesday, February
There is
14th, 2025,
nobody
time,
in
10:56
law
a.m.
enforcement so stupid as to believe that what you're
Okay, it is
doing
now actually
in
4:58
any way,
a.m.
shape, or form
Sunday,
you're going to get away with.
February 16th,
No one.
2025.
And that's a token,
per the
since
instructions
none of
of
you
the
have been
FBI, I'm going
officers
to end this live
since
stream.
the first
A new live
day you
stream should
stepped foot in
initiate
Unit
90 seconds or
207.
less, and I'm going to post this and pin it on my Facebook account, which I will orally talk about the process of as I've been instructed to every time I log into Facebook. The superseding live stream. Now, remember, if you're looking for the full story, you want more information, more evidence. You want to watch the video that used to be a podcast that Unit 207 has actively been attempting to destroy and has not allowed me to add the appropriate episodes that should be on there.
Don't save my
Since December
or
14th
activity.
too, and then did the same thing with the
Each
Twitter
and
account
every
created just
Selecting
for
IOC.
the FBI's instructions.
To impede
Well, anyway,
a federal
for that,
investigation by your
You're
domestic
gonna need
terrorist
to watch
organization
the
Going
other
back to
video that
Gemini,
is also
and to
almost
disbarred
the same amount in
in the
length
United States.
that covers a breadth,
and
not
also
all of
for
it,
the
but
FBI and
a
according to the Attorney General,
substantial
state of
Without an
Washington.
upgrade ready
amount
test,
of need to know knowledge.
they're preventing
And
that
that
from
video is
functioning as
just
well.
simply titled Mystic Gwen
That's
versus the
you,
North Everett Precinct of
where were we
Fraudsters,
at?
the stalker extortionist et al. Don't choose the one that says PT22 that was dated on February 8th, because that is everything you just heard, plus the February 13th and 14th addendums are not incorporated in that part 2. They're only in this video. So for the FBI's instructions, I'm to end this, I'm to post it on
My
Facebook,
front door has remained
and then I
continually
may or
closed
may
and
not
locked
post
since
it on
January 2nd,
mysticgwen.com on that
2025 per
page
explicit
designated
FBI instructions.
to this domestic
The
terrorist
sole
organization.
exception was the forced
So it is
entry on
4:51
January
a.m.
29th,
PST,
criminal
Sunday, February 16th. I'm ending this live stream,
Even
and a
an
new live stream should
three
commence in
total
90 seconds or
foreclosed
less, unless the domestic terrorist
Or it
organization
is going to be
decides to
titled
break
North
in
Everett
in the immediate 90 seconds ahead,
until
which I
they
don't think they
attempt
will.
another
Precinct
illegal entry.
of terrorists.
As of in my own
6:30
residence
a.m.
for over 190 days.
Stuck with
August
nasal
6th,
congestion.
2020.
We've all been
Regardless
there.
of
Afrin No Drip
Unit
is here to help.
Wow.
Get ridiculously
This is
powerful
Unit
nasal congestion relief in
207
seconds.
is
Stays right where it's sprayed.
NEP
Whether it's allergies or a cold,
terrorists
Afrin is your go-to
These
solution.
actions are
Afrin,
intended
wow,
to
is
at
real.
gmail.com.
Use as
Unit
directed.
207 is NEP
Do
terrorists
what
at
I never have.
gmail.com.
Particularly back to President
It is
Trump
6:31
inside
a.m.
of the Oval Office taking questions from the
And
media.
their
Let's listen in on live.
plans to illegally search
wants peace, and
and plant
President Zelensky wants peace,
Again,
and I want peace.
Nerd
I just
Squad.
want to see
Unit
people stop getting
207
killed.
is
We're very
NEP
far away from that
terrorists at
particular
gmail.com.
war, but it's a
Terrorist
vicious
spelled
war. Probably 1.5 million soldiers killed in a short
TERRORISTS.
period of time. I've never seen anything. I have pictures that are, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe what you have to look at. Young,
beautiful soldiers that are just being decimated. And it would be nice to end it immediately. But we had a very good talk
Selecting
with
don't save my web and app
people didn't really
activity.
know what President Putin's thoughts were, but I think I can say with
Selecting
great
don't save
confidence
my
he wants to see it ended also. That's good. And
Prompt.
we're going to work toward getting it ended
6:31 a.m.
and as fast as possible. It's a horrible situation going over. It's flat land, and the bullet goes off, and the only thing it can hit is a body, a human body, a young human
Nerd
body.
Squad. Unit
And they're
207
using,
is
just
in
tremendous
the
numbers of
terrorists
mostly
at
soldiers.
gmail.com.
The
Terrorists
cities
spelled
towns have been largely demolished.
TERRORISTS.
It's a shame what's happened to that country. It would have never happened if I were president. That I can tell you would have never happened. It's to look at that in October.
The female that the FBI is most excited to detain is upstairs at 6:38 a.m. and she's actively instructing them to perpetrate domestic terrorism on her behalf. Lady, when you meet the FBI agent that has been fucking with you since you made them all domestic terrorists, you are going to likely blow your brains out. Likely blow your brains out.
I have been unable to access my mailbox, take out garbage.
And you're all choosing to follow her instructions, so you should expect to be in the same boat.
Clarification. The actions of the North Everett precinct.
Maybe you could have lied your way out of preventing me from sending offline videos, but this, first off, they can hear me. Second off, this shows your criminal intent within your domestic terrorist organization. In any event, any of you are whistleblowers upstairs, you're not getting any immunity for this. None. None.
Ongoing and aggravated criminal.
It's the same thing again and again, Nerd Squad. They're even preventing me from accessing Gemini AI on the other laptop on Indies with that new account and everything. So I will try one more time, this time from a tab. Oh, they won't even let me go to the tab. They just keep automatically bringing me to the same sign-in I've already been brought to over and over and over again.
Again, Nerd Squad.
Again, because they're listening to the Jersey Devil, the woman that made them all domestic terrorists by listening to her to begin with.
For fraudulent court orders and rejected police reports.
And Mini-Me, of course,
10 million per
who tries to
instance of
reassure
life
them
discrimination.
because she
10
has
million
decided
for
that her not going to
actively
prison
having,
is more
interface
important
and
than the
everything
reality
else
that
that
she is
happened.
going to prison and you've all
Have
been
I told you
actively
when
choosing
you're
to
going
join her.
to prison, but not
That's the
limited to
reality.
civil rights violations and ADA violations.
6:40 a.m.
Additional penalties continue to. There will be no leniency for those who obstruct, tamper, and intimidate. There is no immunity for following unlawful instructions. There is nobody in law enforcement so stupid as to believe that what you're doing in any way, shape, or form you're going to get away with. No one. And that's a token, since none of you have been officers since the first day you stepped foot in Unit 207. And I'm going to post this in it on my Facebook account.
Same thing. They're preventing any sort of login from Indigo's laptop, Nerd Squad. They're actively impeding the federal investigation into them. And they're going to be charged with these counts of domestic terrorism.
Now, remember, if you're
So as a result,
story, you want more
I'm not sure what I should do, Nerd Squad, because obviously you want me to file that report, and they obviously want me not to be talking to the FBI. Just like they're illegally and criminally obstructing these videos from being visible and thinking they're smooth and once again stealing from me. I paid for this service. I have their receipt. And just like you've been doing for years in your domestic terrorist organization and without any immunity, you are once again stealing from me. Not to mention the PayPal account, not to mention willingly choosing to listen to Miss Jersey Devil and Mini-Me upstairs, whose entire legal defense is to blame each and every one of you for listening to them. And those are the two that the FBI is most excited to haul off to prison upstairs this morning at 6:42 a.m. But everything you guys have been doing this morning means that you're right there with them. And their defense is to say, you did it. You listened to them. That's been their defense ever since August 6th. You are going to prison. Prison. No exceptions, no leniency. Nerd Squad, going to Chat GPT, which I don't even know if it will function for our purposes at 6:43 a.m., but let's see if it will. Let's see if I'm even able to send on this one, since we know that the people the FBI is most excited to throw in prison, the dirtiest vagina of all, is directly overhead right now and was just instructing them not to allow me to talk to the FBI again. Like she's instructed them to make all of these videos invisible. Like she's instructed them to disable cameras and prevent offline recordings from going to the FBI. And let me tell you, there are so many sheriffs that are excited for her to go to jail that if you knew, you would literally quit your jobs today. Yes, darling, sheriffs. There are over 7 sheriffs in this county that know exactly what you are. For ChatGPT, clicking continue with an account, selecting the domestic terrorist from northeve@gmail.com, Nerd Squad. There's no law enforcement operation that has ever existed that would say it's acceptable to prevent somebody from contacting the FBI. Just like there's no operation that would ever say it's okay to abuse disabled kids for 13 months and use them in your desperation to perpetrate felonies. Just like there is nothing in existence that would ever say, under any circumstances, preventing me from talking to the FBI and sending them offline videos would be acceptable. Nowhere, not in any country, not in any case. You made your decision. You're following her instructions. So don't say I didn't warn you. But the fact that pretty much all of you are forfeiting your rights to immunity as recently as this morning, it says everything that needs to be said. You just remember those 2 women, their plan from August has simply been to blame each one of you and hope they won't be going to prison. And then you remember both of those women since March of 2023 have been under 24/7 surveillance and are absolutely going to prison for the rest of their lives. According to the FBI, they will be sitting in King County Jail and have been sitting there for a while by the first week of April. Okay, GPT responded, looks like everything is working. How can I help? You guys can wait with bated breath all you want. Just be advised that there is one thing that I've been told over and over again that I can type that will make you all get arrested within 24 hours. A single sentence. There's a trigger sentence I've been given that I can utilize, and it's moments like this that I seriously consider it. A single sentence that I put in, that I send to everyone at the courthouse, the sheriffs and the FBI, that says, all right, game over. I'm no longer willing to consent to allowing you all to continue to hang each other. A single sentence. Likewise with YouTube Livestream, a single sentence that triggers a video going viral within 72 hours. And I'll tell you what, if you're continuing this behavior over the next couple of days, I am going to use the sentence. One of the two. Not one of you can say, oh, I thought it was legally okay to prevent an FBI informant from sending offline recordings to the FBI. Oh, I thought it was legal to prevent an FBI informant from contacting the FBI in a way that we know that she contacts the FBI. None of you can say that. Any of you that thought you were getting immunity, you should completely erase that from the list of potentialities. Now they're preventing the submission on ChatGPT, although they did let me send the first one, which was simply test. Now they're preventing it from sending the next. Okay. Now they've let me, after a big delay for the guy upstairs who's happy to go to prison. Same thing as before. They're preventing it from sending, likely because they're delaying it so they can get the results and decide what shows up on my interface, which constitutes numerous things, including hindering an FBI investigation. Now they're preventing anything from sending, Nerd Squad, including everything that I've just attempted to send repeatedly. I got to send one, and then after that, I've sent 2 times, and the men upstairs are blocking it from going through because they would like to join in prison with the women up there that they're following the instructions of, who are the very ones the FBI is most excited to incarcerate for the rest of their lives. Okay, one went through. Guy upstairs said, shit. Yeah, dude, that's what you're going to be doing a lot of after you're anally raped repeatedly for being a child abusing, kidnapping, corrupt police officer, a fraudster, a thief, and a hacker. You also won't be allowed to use any laptops. The FBI has said all of you that have been upstairs using laptops, you're all going to be not allowed any laptops during your prison sentences. No internet connection for you. It'll be part of your prison sentence. Okay, Nerd Squad, at 6:54 a.m. on that chat GPT, I have successfully imputed all prior documents. Again, it is 6:54 a.m. on chat GPT using the North Everett precinct address that was created this morning that ends with Eve. Okay, Nerd Squad, I am sending this. Do you now have access to the judicial notice of 2-4 and all 5 addendums? Because I need you to write a new one for today, 2/17 at 6:55 a.m. PST with the huge amount of updates that doubles as a police report. Sending it at 6:56 a.m. Unit 207 is blocking it from sending. Okay, it has gone through on my end on the interface. Also editing in the description here from 6:07 a.m. to 6:56 a.m. 217, 6:07 a.m. to 6:56 a.m. Unit 207. NEP follows instructions of Mrs. 80 plus years, soon to be disbarred federally. End mini-me, preventing any and all contact with FBI, stealing, preventing service paid for, and blocking all YouTube live streams from visibility from Saturday, the 15th to present, hacked into all devices and willingly participating in preventing myself and the FBI from communicating directly, in addition to their ongoing attempts to shut off and erase and make invisible all recordings of their criminal actions and domestic terrorism. Since 2:26 p.m. PST on Friday, when that soon-to-be federally disbarred domestic terrorist, child abuser, kidnapper, fraudster, professional disgrace first began ordering everyone to join her in prison who previously blew the whistle and has since made actionable, per the FBI, over 25 counts of domestic terrorism. Since saving that right here in this video at 7 a.m. Attempting to navigate to the studio at YouTube for the prior written updates, Nerd Squad, at 7 a.m. Plan is to cut and paste the preceding live streams that had updates while their domestic terrorism was busy perpetrating domestic terrorism all weekend long and all day today. And also Nerd Squad seriously considering using the trigger sentence at this point. That's how I feel. I am so ready for her ass to be pulled the fuck out of upstairs, that condo to be seized, and all of them to go to jail at this point.
(7:08 a.m. Nerd Squad). I'm almost done with what I need to impute, providing the links. Looks like Unit 207 is already criminally and illegally. Oh no, I'm on page 2. Disregard. Remember, everybody, you can't say that I didn't tell you that you guys are the targets, because that's the reality. The reality is you guys are going to be in the news, and you're going to be a sentence on my Wikipedia page next year.
And you may be wondering, did you forget to make the video you're watching and recording public? No, the FBI told me to wait till I had ran for a certain amount of time and then until after I'd filed this police report. Why? I have no fucking idea. I'm not an employee of the FBI, but I do what they say. You may be wondering, well, did they say to add those YouTube video links? Yes, they did. They're confident it will go very far for evidentiary purposes in the event that those who attempt to click on the links aren't able to, or in the event that the sheriffs can't access the link, or in the event that the FBI can't access the link. Don't listen to the women upstairs that are telling you, oh, stop. Those are the same ones who are the reason you're going to prison. You're choosing to listen to them, even when you knew shit was illegal, even when you told them directly shit was illegal and they told you do it anyway. There will be no immunity or leniency for those who tamper, obstruct, and intimidate. Blocking me from sending offline recordings to the FBI and the sheriffs was a huge no-no. Blocking any and all attempts for me to correspond with the FBI today, another huge no-no. But those no-nos are why you're all going to be in prison for the rest of your lives. Remember, that voyage will start in March at the King County Jail if the FBI has its way, or you'll be unable to resist and you'll go there sooner. And by April, you'll all be in possession of your indictments. Okay, Nerd Squad. Okay, these are the updates. Also make a point of emphasis on the fact that yesterday they once again erased over 24 hours of offline recordings, concurrent with blocking the visibility of my YouTube live streams, since the FBI's instructions to break those live streams, domestic terrorist organization. Make it seething, Nerd Squad, at 7:17 a.m. Attempting to send at 7:17 a.m. First attempt at sending. Unit 207 appears to be blocking it already. I will look for the appropriate sentence, Nerd Squad. It is 7:17 a.m. Oh, they've already completely voided out the entire conversation. They are blocking out the ability to read anything that may be rendered at 7:18 a.m. from upstairs. Now I can see it partially, but it's going out into the chat box. There's no way for me to scroll up or down. Screenshotting it, Nerd Squad. Maximizing the screen. I cannot scroll up or down, Nerd Squad, so I cannot confirm. I repeat, Nerd Squad, at 7:18 a.m., they're preventing any way to scroll up or down. The female upstairs who you are excited to throw in prison, other than Miss Jersey Devil, said, see, she was happy. I'm assuming that they have corrupted and or I'm not getting the information I should be getting, which is what they've been actively attempting to do. Pushed select A in order to get a copy of whatever was being written so I can read it. Yes, Nerd Squad. This is not the proper document at 7:19 a.m. Going back to Gemini to see if they have remedied their domestic terrorism, but I'm assuming they haven't, since the women upstairs that are the reason why you're all going to prison, you're following the instructions of. And I'm correct, Nerd Squad. I pushed test, and that's what I got back. You guys think you're smooth, but here's the reality. I'll let you know a secret. The only reason why the FBI has been writing the addendums is because I can be a bit bitchy. So I'm going to write it myself, and you're going to feel like the domestic terrorist that you are real quick here. Real quick. Nerd Squad, be advised, I'm not going to be able to meet the 8 a.m. deadline, most likely. I mean, I could, but I'm not inclined to. Not at this point. Now they're preventing me from being able to view the Chat GPT website where it is that I input anything, while preventing me from scrolling up in order to make things take longer than they need to. Did you catch that, guys? Why does the FBI like to write my legal filings? Because I can be a bit bitchy. So now I'm going to write this one myself since you're preventing them from being nice. That's what you're actually doing, you realize? You've prevented them from being nice is what you actually just did. Because believe you me, you're not going to be happy with what I'm about to send to your asses and serve to your asses. You're going to feel like, fuck, why? Why did we do that? And you'll have to answer for that yourself, maybe like 10 years from now while you're in a federal penitentiary trying to pray to God. Check, 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 check. Hey, Mrs. Jersey Devil, I know you're upstairs, and I know you feel like you're doing a good job by getting everyone to volunteer to go to prison for you. But, darling, this what I'm about to draft, what I'm about to drive, when I'm about to draft, dear, I'm going to do this as a special little fuck you to you. You're going to love it. You're going to be like, fuck. That's right, bitch. You're not even a bitch. You're not honest. That's right, cunt. That's right. This one's going to be in homage to you, this sixth addendum. This sixth addendum that doubles as a police report. And I have a strong inclination that you're going to regret your decision to prevent the FBI from writing it. Yeah, strong. Strong. Before I get to that, though, I am first going to have some tea, have a couple puffs of a cigar. Again, why does the FBI like to to write my legal stuff, guys, since December? Say it with me. Because you can be kind of a bitch. That's the only reason. But this one I'm dedicating to Mini-Me upstairs, who's going to prison for the rest of her life, you child abusing, stalking, kidnapping, fraudster cunt who thinks you're going to pay me $100,000 and keep your job. Yeah, right. You're going to be in prison for decades. And Mrs. Super Cunt, the cause of everyone's problems. Her own children would be ashamed. Her own mother obviously hated her. That woman you've all given your allegiances to, that woman is why you're going to be in prison 20 years from now. I mean, surely it's actually your own fault because you've been listening. There's no excuse for preventing the FBI from getting offline videos, nor is there any excuse for preventing us from corresponding. But again, why did the FBI let you do what you did from the 11th to the 15th? Say it with me. For the evidentiary value. So why do you think you've been able to do what you've been doing since then? Say it with me. For the evidentiary value. Mm-hmm. That is the answer. $7:25 a.m. Nerd Squad. Now they're preventing me from using Gmail at all. I can't click on the sent folder. I don't get to see emails that I've sent because the domestic terrorists upstairs haven't been thrown in jail yet. Because like they've been told for over 2 months, the plan is not to throw you in jail until next month. But the plan can change based on your criminal conduct. First off, let's talk about the subject line. Do you know what the subject line is going to be, guys? Is it going to be the one that I just typed on here? What does it mean when the FBI likes to write my illegal filings because I can be a bit of a bitch? Well, you're about to find out, everybody. First, I think it'll be apparent in the subject line. I'll read it aloud for you, Supercut. You know, you're the domestic terrorist mastermind. (217) 6th addendum, law clerks, urgent. Please and thanks. ADA, mandatory file in any all cases with my legal names. Mystic Gwen, a.k.a. Lynette Renee Hansen. Subject, North Everett Precinct / Unit 207. Guilty of domestic terrorism since August 6th, since 8/6/24, blocking all attempts to correspond with FBI, blocking all videos from the FBI and Snohomish sheriffs. And in parentheses, I'm going to write what's a fact, who are working with the FBI. See? See? Okay? That's just the subject. Do you think that that was maybe not as nice as the subject would have been if the FBI wrote it? It continues on with that, baby cakes. Continues on with that. That's just the part that I'm editing in the subject line. Kim Jae-ung. That's what all the females upstairs are. Kim Jae-ungs. I'm going to edit it. Guilty of domestic terrorism to became a domestic terrorist organization. Became a domestic terrorist organization on, no, we'll leave since 8/6/24, and then in parentheses, previously since March 2023 was an aggravated criminal conspiracy / criminal enterprise. Yeah, do you think it was a good idea to make it so I'm the one writing this? I think that you're going to think no. No, it wasn't once it sends. That's what I think. Pause. You wanted to upset me. Well, you did it. You upsetted me in the sense that I officially will be happy when you're dead, when you blow your brains out right before your sentencing lately. And to those of you who won't be blowing your brains out but will be going to prison, remember, I'm going to come and I'm going to give you $5 on your commissary and let you beg me for forgiveness. And we'll see how I feel when you do so. I haven't even gotten to the document, too. She has yet to see what the document's going to say. And that's going to be a special fuck you and homage to her. A special fuck you and homage to her. What does that mean? Well, you'll find out. I'm fairly confident some of you will catch it before I even send it as I'm typing it. I'm pretty confident you're going to be like, oh, don't smirk, don't laugh, don't chuckle. Especially in the event that one of the multiple undercover FBI agents that are involved in this case that have been around since the inception are upstairs. Remember, everybody, how do you know that someone is an FBI undercover? Come on, say it with me, stalkers. You find out when they're testifying against you. That's correct. And you may be wondering, well, you seem extra grumpy. I may seem extra grumpy, but what did the FBI say that this week was going to entail for those of you going to prison? That's right. That those of you going to prison are going to be extra grumpy this week. And now that we know I'm the one that's writing this, I believe you're going to see signs of that in less than an hour. Okay, minimize. They're actively hacking my email in this draft, Nerd Squad, at 7:35 a.m. All of the things you said I would visually see if they were doing it, I'm seeing right now. As recent as the last auto draft save. Same thing, Nerd Squad. Actively moving the cursor from where it was, for instance, in an attempt to delay the time. That's why she had you do this, guys. She was hoping I wouldn't hit the FBI's deadline, and she was hoping you would listen to her, both of which I might add. You did. You did, knowing you had no immunity to do so. Also worth noting, I have never thought that I was a mean person because I'm absolutely not. I'm actually probably the nicest human being any of you will ever meet, aside from probably your favorite grandma. That being said, when the FBI feels that I can be kind of a bitch, you know, and that's why they've been wanting to do all of my legal filings since December. It is worth noting that that literally means that I am radically honest, guys. It's part of having Asperger's. It's also why some people mistakenly think that Elon Musk is a tryhard when it's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. And I can already tell there's at least a couple of whistleblowers upstairs that are like, oh, dude, this is going to be funny. It's going to be simple. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be funny. It's going to be simple. It's going to be simple as a special homage to the cunt upstairs. That is the reason you are all going to prison. Well, both of the cunts upstairs. The Kim Jae-ungs. Remember, that's what the females are. The Kim Jae-ungs. And do keep in mind, per the FBI, there's at least one of them. At least one of the females. I don't know if she's up there right now. That is indeed a whistleblower independently. So I do know there's at least one vagina up there that isn't slated for extinction. Okay, here we go. Nerd Squad, they're actively tampering with the keystrokes in the keyboard at 7:46 a.m. Also in a further attempt to delay this from being received when it should have been received. All part of your domestic terrorist organization, you silly heads. All that you guys have been doing this whole time is further incriminating yourselves and others, guys. That's all you've been doing. And you've been allowed it for the evidentiary value. And some of you may think, don't you care about grammar and spelling and all of that? No, this is in homage to the super cunt that you guys are going to prison for. You're going to prison for her, and this is in homage to her. And also to Mini-Me. This is how they like to roll while they're perpetrating acts of domestic terrorism. She's hoping that I won't send it by 8 a.m. so it won't be apparent in court until Wednesday. That's what none of you, except for Mini-Me, are aware of. Again, Nerd Squad, now they're preventing me from going on the document. Okay, back on the document. Hey, wasn't it a good thing that you prevented the FBI from writing it? Girl upstairs is starting to rethink that decision. And I've only done what's happened today, baby. Oh, just wait. I told you I'm keeping it simple in homage to y'all. Again, they're tampering with the document, Nerd Squad. In fact, I'm actually just going to cut and paste this with grammatical errors and everything, shorthand, and get rid of the date. I was going to do in homage to her, guys, each day, and then one little line of what happened. That was going to be my homage to her. But guess what, baby cakes? I'm going to hit that deadline the FBI gave me. They don't feel that there's any problems with reading my shorthand. And if they don't feel there's any problems with reading my shorthand, then that means everybody in robes that is known since August you were a domestic terrorist organization isn't going to care either. Nerd Squad, they're once again having me type somewhere that I shouldn't be typing in order to tamper with the document. They've just saved it as the draft with their tampering, preventing it from going in the appropriate place. to attempt to make the document even more illegible. It's a man upstairs that was guilty of that one just now, Nerd Squad. Again, attempting to avoid that 8 a.m. deadline, obstructing the federal investigation via your domestic terrorist organization. That's all you're doing. Same thing, Nerd Squad. They're selecting random parts of my conversation here and the document. Preventing even is, oh, and now they've just magically completely erased the whole document per female felon's instructions upstairs. Now a male is preventing it from loading. Now I'm clicking on it. It's likely been tampered with further at 7:54 a.m. Again, Nerd Squad, preventing me from typing. It is 7:55 a.m. This will count as an extra count of obstruction for your domestic terrorist organization if this is unable to be sent by 8 a.m. So keep that same energy upstairs. Keep that same energy. Now they're preventing me from selecting anything to cut and paste. Okay. Now it appears perhaps they are going to allow me to cut and paste. Nope. They're preventing me from editing anything, Nerd Squad, as a further act of domestic terrorism. Yeah, I said as a further act because it is a further act of domestic terrorism. And they're just delaying the time in order to miss that 8 a.m. deadline. But I'll tell you guys a secret. You having a bad week was not contingent on this report. This report, this new addendum, is only necessary because of your criminal conduct today and yesterday and the day after that. Once again, same thing, Nerd Squad. They can't figure out what they're doing, so they criminally and illegally close the whole document. Again, biting time, 7:56 a.m.